people. So it's a draft, and I want to leave it in your hands, and I would really appreciate hearing from you tonight. Thank you.
I like it. Hold the microphone, stand for it. No, pull it out so you can help. Thank you.
It emailed
Thank you.
about 3:30, almost 4.
There you go.
Good evening, Board of Selectmen. My name is Sally Little, and it's my pleasure to speak as a parent, volunteer, and Abenaki Outing Club board member to advocate for the approval of the MOU. I teach at Dover High School, and my husband teaches at Kingswood Middle School, and every year skiing becomes more expensive. And it is only because of the Abenaki Outing Club's commitment to accessibility that has allowed my 2 children to excel and thrive on the team for the last 5 years. I taught my children, Mazzy and River, to ski at Abenaki. And when I saw the low cost of the Outing Club's race program in the newspaper, I was thrilled to enroll my daughter in something that I never thought that I could offer to her. Since 2019, I have volunteered in numerous roles for Abenaki, as a timer, as a start referee at races, installing safety net on the hill, facilitating Outing Club sponsored events, as well as working as a volunteer to run the rope tow with Parks and Rec. Last year, I joined the board of directors, which is made up of a team of people who are right there on the hill, painting freestyle equipment, organizing race bibs, teaching the Learn to Ski program, serving as ski patrol, coaching, and working to ensure the hill can continue to serve children in this community. If you attended any of the ski sales in the area this fall, you probably saw Coach Scott scouting out deals and hauling out used equipment to help outfit kids of all ages. In just 5 years, enrollment in our Alpine, Freestyle, Nordic, and Learn to Ski programs has grown from under 30 kids to an updated number of 194, with more than 100 children on the hill on Saturday mornings in the winter, from first-time skiers to competitive athletes. The Abenaki Outing Club pays to rent the hill on Saturday mornings and Monday and Tuesday nights, since these operating times are not in the town budget. Through hill rentals and the season passes that our club families purchase, the town receives roughly $40,000 each year in the revenue from the club. Additionally, the Abenaki Outing Club provides over $15,000 a year in scholarship support to ensure that cost is never a barrier for young skiers. Just as one example of this support, when my daughter Mazzy qualified for Easterns last year, her achievement left me extremely proud, but also very uncertain, because I could not afford her to send her to Whiteface Mountain in New York. Her coach immediately came to me and said, "We will help support Mazzy. We have a scholarship for her." Abenaki Outing Club's motto is Little Hill, Big Heart, and moments like this show just how truly big that heart really is. The 194 kids in the Abenaki Outing Club are our community's kids. And approving the MOU allows the club to stay focused on its mission. It ensures that we can welcome more families, operate with the town's support, and keep skiing accessible to so many children in this town. Thank you for your time and your consideration of the MOU, and your support of families who benefit from the Abenaki Outing Club programs at Abenaki Ski Area.
Anybody else?
Good evening. I'm Sebastian Tordonato. Would just like to follow up on Ann's petition and suggestion. She's presented that twice, and twice I've come and stood here. The first time kind of joking, asking you to make a motion to accept it. The second time, not so much of a joke, and this will be the third time that I ask, and it's not a joke. Dead serious. I think you should definitely consider it, and I think you should follow up on that and let the town hire a consultant to review the town procedures and the town, the way the town does things and the way they spend money. I think there's a lot of questions that have been asked recently, and I encourage you very much to go ahead and accept the petition and get that put onto the warrant articles for this year. That's all I have to say. Thank you.
Okay, anybody else?
Carol McMahon. I'm just follow up on Ann and Sebastian about the warrant article that that you consider it and go forward with it because we think that it's something worth pursuing. Thank you.
So I'm Richard Odell and ditto, but I'm wondering, since it's on the agenda for tonight as a separate item, would it be better for us to speak when you're bringing that up for during that time?
I would say yes.
Okay, we'll hold on now. Thanks.
Okay, anybody else? Okay, we'll move on. The bulk vote. This is weekly manifest, tax warrant. A and
Mr.
B.
Mr. Chairman, we voted in the tax warrant on Monday because we wanted, as everybody will be excited to get their tax bills, we wanted to get them out as soon as possible. So I will make a motion to remove B from the bulk vote.
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Okay.
Then I'll make a motion that we accept the bulk vote.
Second.
Any discussion? All those in favor?
Aye.
Okay, committee appointments. Forest Fire Deputy Wardens.
Welcome back.
Deputy Chief Nate Nichols. I think you've got a short list of our members. Includes the 3 new firefighters we hired this year, Deputy Evangelista and Max, who was in previous hiring cycle for deputy wardens. Just allows them to write permits when people come in for fire permits in the fire station, and there's some continuing education that we must keep up through the state. Any questions?
Anybody have any questions? I'll just list off the people. Hunter Wrigley, Cameron Drew, Brian Evangelisti, Alista, Lucas Jennison, and Max McCloskey.
That's correct. Yep.
Is that a motion, Dave?
Yes.
Second?
All those in favor?
Aye.
Anybody opposed? New business? We have the,
Did we overlook Max McClaskey?
No, he said that.
He was in it, I'm sorry.
I had that name.
Yep.
Thought I did.
No,
No, you did.
It's me. Thanks.
Are you here?
I was taking a short nap. Thank you.
All right, under new business, the first thing is approval, Abenaki Outing Club, MOU, Parks and Rec.
Go, Bo, go.
Good evening, Bo Betts, Wolfeboro Parks and Rec. I think we're back here to discuss the updated MOU that you all should have received last week at some point. Here to answer any questions that you may have.
Mr. Pinio, you were going to get us a copy of the contract that's referenced in here, and I also asked for some figures. Were you able to get any of those?
Jim had emailed me the other day. I have a draft of a contract, but until we decide what we're doing here, I found that, waiting to get a contract put together after the MOU would be approved or not approved.
So
might be best.
how did they rent the hill before? Was it, there was no contract?
There's always been a written contract for the use of the hill.
Okay, so you could bring me the 2024, that would have been a contract I could have
Okay,
seen.
I thought you meant the new contract that would be drafted for this season that I have not completed yet.
I guess what I was looking for in here, it didn't reference insurance and some of the others, and I'm assuming it was in the contract, and without the contract,
Oh,
I
I
don't
see.
know whether we
Okay.
covered it or not, so
Yep.
that's why I was looking for the contract.
Okay, I'm
Can you
sorry
give
about
us a quick synopsis of the difference between the 2024 and the 2025 contract?
Well, with the 2025 contract, and if the MOU is approved, I just wanted to kind of rework some of the things so there's not any redundancies and too many things that are repeating themselves in the contract with the current contract and the MOU. So I thought maybe with this agreement, there might be things that might not be needed in the contract.
As an example,
Well, a lot of the things in the MOU kind of match what are in the contract. The town expectations, opening, closing dates, when the freestyle and terrain park will be ready and open for the season, staffing, things like that.
Does the contract require any kind of insurance? Because in here, there's no insurance for renting the hill.
The ski team, yeah, in the contract,
It has
they
the
have their own
insurance writer
Yes.
information. Thank you.
all right, Mr. Chairman,
Yep.
if we're comfortable that insurance, payments, and those things that are, that are between the parties are going to be covered in a contract, which they have been in the past, then I'm comfortable that, at least in my opinion, because I think I started this, I'm comfortable that the MOU that's in front of us has been in front of us. Nathan has taken a look at it, Jim?
That is correct.
It's been in front of our lawyer. It's kind of had a couple of laps around the track. I'm going to make a motion that we accept the MOU as currently written with the understanding that insurance, payments, schedules will be covered in a subsequent contract that the town manager and ultimately I think this board is going to have to review. So that's my motion.
Is there a second?
I have a question before I'm willing to second it, and I made this statement before. There is a paragraph that says that the costs will be split between the ski and the hockey organization, and I would like to know whether the Hockey Association has agreed to it. Because I don't want to sign an MOU and have the other party saying, well, how could you possibly have signed that MOU? I haven't agreed to split the cost. And this is when the two, a hockey tournament and a ski race tournament happens the same weekend and we have to bus. And so.
If we were to take and table this to the next meeting, would that in any way affect the operations of the Hill or the Outing Club or do any detriment to anything?
Yeah. Okay. I would say that we're getting close. We have snow on the hill now. We're blowing snow. We're getting close to opening. and we don't have a contract in place. And I think both parties are ready to move forward
So I
with
wish
this.
I had the contract tonight here with this, so that I could see both at the same time.
That's what I was trying to get. And I think, and I ahead of time asked about this last time, about the Hockey Association. I don't have any issue if we see the contract and you've talked to the Hockey Association and they agreed, but I hate to sign, or we take that sentence out. I don't want to sign something that says that they have to pay when we haven't even spoken to them.
I would like to pull that sentence out of the MOU completely.
Fine, pull it out.
Okay? That takes care of that.
Okay?
That helps
So
that.
that's
Takes care of a big
number
one.
6, scheduling, right?
Yes, it's the last sentence.
Pull it out.
Yep.
Motion still stands with that sentence taken out.
Would you amend that we will have the contract and be able to see it at the next meeting? I'm asking you whether you're willing to
Yes.
amend your motion.
Can you do that?
Yes, absolutely.
Yeah, I would just,
My motion is amended to accommodate what Linda's asking, which is
then
right.
then
Smart thing to do.
Then I will second it.
Thank you, Linda.
Okay, well,
Any further discussion?
yeah, one last piece. What do we have for an ability to amend this MOU after we vote for it if we get the contract and we find some kind of conflict?
Then I would think we'd have to have the contract signed to mimic this.
Right.
Okay. So we would mold because we could do it two ways, mold the contract to meet the MOU, or make an adjustment on the MOU to make it match with the contract. Because they have to work together. When one document references another, they have to work together. So what would the board think would be the best way if we find an issue with the contract, to adjust the contract or to adjust the MOU if needed?
Mr. Chairman?
Paul?
So this document, this MOU, I would characterize it, and I'm not an attorney, but a memorandum of understanding is, in my view, this is a best efforts agreement. We're going to make a best effort to do things. The prevailing document would be the contract. Offer, consideration, consent, 3 items in the contract. If the contract and this thing are not square with each other, either the contract gets modified or it doesn't. And if the contract doesn't get modified to meet with this thing, nothing happens. So I think to answer your question, this is we're going to work hard and do good together. And I'm not trying to minimize this. This is what this was about. Best efforts. Good reason to work in harmony. The contract is the prevailing document. We should take a look at it, and if we're not happy with it, the contract either gets changed or it doesn't. So that's kind of where I'm at.
Okay. Does the board agree? Is
Anything
with Paul?
else? Go ahead, Linda.
Yeah, I'm with Paul here. To
Okay.
me, this is how we're building a partnership.
Correct.
And that we're going to work together. And I'll tell you, I've been out there and seen that hill filled with kids. They're doing cross-country skiing now. I mean, it's on a Saturday. It's just a wonderful place to be. So I'm totally in support of having this partnership and working with them and allowing them to develop more. But I do want to see the contract.
Absolutely.
And I agree with you, Linda. That's exactly right. And if Dave, if I could just punctuate one thing. I sat with the Friends the other night, and to Linda's point, I came from a meeting earlier where it was, not the most pleasant meeting I had attended in my career. And then I went to the Friends meeting, and I walked out of that Friends meeting and said, thank God I went to that thing, because I was ready to drive my Jeep off the bridge. And they were talking about kids filling up the hill, opening it up early. Could we? Can we? How are we going to do this? We were talking about engineering the lift. Alex was talking about his electricity issues. It was a wonderful conversation. And this piece of paper here just basically says we're going to work hard and do good. And I would hate like hell to run this thing around the track another time, because I think we shouldn't do that.
Okay, so
The contract's got to line up.
So as long as I know that everybody's okay with the contract
Yes.
and making this,
Fair enough.
I'm okay with it too.
Fair enough.
One thing, Bo, that I would like, if you, for the public, could tell us what the schedule for the Hill will be, its opening, or days, Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, Saturday, Sunday, what are the hours that it's open and usable? What time will the outing club have it for their rentals, and what time will it be open with the general public?
Sure. So we are actually ahead of schedule. We had planned to start making snow next week, but we have cold weather coming Thursday, Friday night. We'll be blowing snow Thursday, Friday into Saturday, shutting down for the weekend, starting back up Monday, Tuesday, with an anticipated opening date of December 20th. Once we're open on the 20th, we will continue with our normal operations. Monday, Tuesdays are closed to the public and are private rentals. Brewster rents on Mondays for their downhill team, and the outing club rents for the freestyle team. Tuesday evenings, the outing club is on the hill for their downhill team. Tuesday nights from 4:30 to 6:30, I believe. And then we are open to the public Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, 4 to 7 p.m. Saturday, 11 to 7. Sunday, 11 to 6. And then during the school vacation weeks we have here in December, and the 2 school vacation weeks in February, Massachusetts vacation week being one of them, we're open 7 days a week.
Okay.
And it sounded like you just pulled that right out of your... Right, and thank you for doing that. And we're about on schedule, or when we opened the Hill last year? Was
Yeah, so historically we've always opened on December 26th. That used to be sort of the day that Abenaki, it was opening day. Everybody knew that was the opening day for Abenaki. We've had some pressure to open early if we can, and we've made the best effort in the last year or two to get the Hill ready and prepared and open earlier. Last year we opened on the 21st. This year we're shooting for the 20th. I will say staffing and our snowmaking crew is probably the best it's been in a long time. And having them on board with the knowledge that they have really helps us get us to where we need to be in time.
Now, I could be speaking out of turn, but I remember when my kids were little that on Thursday, Friday, or Saturdays, it used to be open later to like 8 or 9 o'clock at night, the Hill. Do we not do that because of staffing, of cost, or the kids aren't there, or what's the reason?
Well, I can't speak to what it used to be. For as long as I've been with the town, since October of 2020, we've always been open from 4 to 7 during those weeknights. I will say a couple years ago, we tried some extended nights and we stayed open till 9 p.m. on Friday nights.
Yeah.
By 7:30, it was pretty quiet.
Okay.
I just have one thing. Yes, Jim, haven't we had enough money in our operating budget over the last 3 years to open the Hill earlier than the 26th?
Yeah, I mean, the costs aren't really, don't change the impact of opening early. We still have to rent the compressors, we still have to blow the snow, we still have to run the groomers. So those costs, whether we do them
They're sunk.
a couple weeks earlier or a couple weeks later associated with snowmaking are pretty much the same. The only variable would be the staff to operate the Hill, which is
Right.
we're in good shape financially for that this year.
As I recall, we put more money in a couple of years ago
We did.
to be able to open early, and that's
did.
what I wanted. That was our commitment to trying to get the Hill open. Weather didn't help us those
Right.
years.
The weather really is the biggest factor that plays here. If we don't get the cold nights like we're getting this week and early next week, we wouldn't be able to blow snow. I could stand here and attempt to educate the public on snowmaking, but I could be here for a while. It's not as easy as just turning on the pumps and blowing snow. We need the right humidity, the right temperature to make, have optimal snowmaking and not just be kind of dumping water out of the snow guns with a little snow.
So isn't the focus to make as much snow as you can before
Yeah.
you open?
And that's a great point. We're looking for that 24 to 48 hour window where we can just blow snow continuously. Whereas, if we get a 6-hour window on a Tuesday night where, the temps are good enough to blow snow, it just doesn't make sense for us to set up the hill, bring staff in. By the time we turn everything on, blow snow for a couple hours just to turn everything off, we're really looking for that 48-hour window where we can just blow continuously.
So with the drought this year, is the pond level at a high enough level so that we will have enough water to blow snow on the hill for the year?
I don't believe we'll have any issues with the water. I haven't seen a drastic, drop in the pond with the drought over the summer. Levels look to be about normal, but again, I don't know the depth of the pond. I haven't been out there. There's really no great way of knowing, but we've never historically had issues in the past.
Okay. All right.
Call the question,
Call
Mr.
a
Chairman.
question.
All those in favor of the motion?
Aye.
Anybody opposed?
Thank you, Bo.
Next on our agenda is petition requests from citizens of Wolfeboro.
Mr. Chairman,
Yes.
my understanding, and I looked it up, under RSA 39:3, if the Board of Selectmen receives a valid petition warrant article, which obviously they can get the signatures, the petition warrant article automatically goes on the ballot as written. So all they need to do is hand us in a valid petition with 25 registered voter signature, written whatever way they would like, and it automatically goes on the warrant.
And if it's my understanding too, Linda, the Board of Selectmen can recommend or not recommend petition warrant articles.
We will have to recommend because there's a money
Yes.
attached.
Correct.
Anybody want to speak to this point? Otherwise, we're going to move on.
Well, I just recently heard, and I don't know if it's right or not, but that a petition from the citizens that we put on the ballot is only advisory, that you, the board, or the town is not required to follow through with that. Is that true?
I don't believe so. If a warrant article comes in to Pat Waterman with the number of signatures, then it goes on the warrant.
It does go on the warrant, Dave, but she is correct. The petition is advisory, and the board, if they so choose, would have...
Yeah. No, it's not working.
Sorry about that. It is an advisory warrant article based on petition. The Board of Selectmen would have to make a determination to follow through with the article should it pass. So she is correct about it being advisory, regardless if it's money or not.
And that's why, I don't know if I'm allowed to speak, Ann Blodgett, but that's why we're here asking you to do the right thing. And citizens would like this, and it could fail. It could be voted against, but you're giving them the right and you're standing behind trying to make us better.
Have you done the 25 signatures to officially get a petition warrant article and give it to Pat?
We're waiting for you. We're giving you first rights.
Mr. Chairman?
Yep. Paul?
I want to thank the people who did this, and I mean that sincerely. I read it again last night. It felt to me as I read it, that there was a lot of input in that came from, a lot of words that came from different groups. Fair?
Absolutely.
Okay, yeah, because it read
Over the course of
a long
2
time.
years.
Yeah, a long time, which is good. Yeah, you said 2 years, and then I read that too, but then you were talking about 4 years, so I was having like a time thing but that's okay, that's irrelevant at the moment.
Citizens for Wolfeboro has been in existence over 2.5 years.
Okay, so that's when you started the clock?
That's when we've been meeting, trying to wrestle with things,
Okay.
trying to help fellow citizens
Yep.
be heard.
Yep, got it. And this new document you shared this afternoon with a few of us clarified a question that I was going to ask, and you guys have been very direct with us, and respectfully, I'm going to be direct back. Respectfully.
Thank you.
I want to be respectful.
Yep. Nothing personal here.
No, it isn't. And you know what? Thanks for doing that. We should just get at it and not take personal umbrage at what we do. And be careful about the words we use, because those things are important. So this notion here is a 9-person group, 7 residents with with organizational expertise. In the document, the original motion, you said, at the end of 26, there'd be some kind of a presentation, that people would come to the microphone and, okay?
I think when you hire a consultant, they provide you information, and it's a joint effort.
The warrant or the document you put together said sometime like at the end of 26, there'd be a consultancy presentation to the us, okay? But that's when the work begins. You'd agree with that, right?
Oh, absolutely.
Oh, correct. Consultants are really good at telling you what to do, but they never show up. They never show up to help you do it, right?
Well, and it's the
They don't
follow
give them
through.
sleeves,
It's the
don't-
follow through and the commitment to
Correct.
doing.
Yeah. We've all in our corporate lives paid tons of money to people who tell you exactly what you need to do, but they can't show you how they've done it.
But they can give you a path.
My point, though, is this. This team, this blue ribbon team, and I'll just use that once, this blue ribbon team, they're going to stick around after 2026, right?
I would hope so, and I'm sure the people who put their skin in the game will want to stay involved and work through this.
Okay.
And if the select board wants them to, I'm sure they will.
Yeah.
And I think it's a mutual joint effort.
So, okay. Because I would expect that however this would happen, I mean, somebody's going to have to stick around and kind of coach this thing, right?
You don't just, it's not one of those on the shelf things.
It's not going to be on the top shelf. It's always on the top shelf. So
It'll
you
be
can
a
show it
top shelf product if we have the right
to your
people
guests
involved.
when they come into your office. Here's the direct question. So if there's going to be a group of people that are going to hang around for a couple of years, why don't you run for selectman? Why don't you pick off 2 of us and run to be a member of the Board of Selectmen?
So that's a really good question.
I hope it is.
And I think for probably the last 2 or so years, we've been talking to people about doing that. And I think what you'd like to hear is their reaction. And I think they feel like they're jumping into a snake pit.
So that's where I get confused. That's where I get really confused. In my personal opinion, you want to change things, and I've said it. I started this, this comment. The 5 of us here, set the gentleman at the end off the table for a moment. The 5 of us here, we're where the buck stops.
I've heard you say that before.
You don't change this. You don't change anything. Nothing changes. That's my personal opinion.
So when you say,
if you want to
just
change
clarify
leadership-
what you're saying that. You don't change this. What does that mean?
Change us.
Oh, we're trying to help.
Yeah.
We are. And I think citizens pretty much see that there's so much good here that's not being ferreted out, or that the process seems flawed or broken or sometimes askew.
So, I tried to logically not to entrap you, but I tried to logically walk down the path that says, this is an investment of people's time over the next couple of years.
Absolutely.
This is aimed at solving some issues that are teed up in this document. Some I would agree with are issues, some I would agree with are...
Some are observations, some are...
Yeah, you know, I had this, what's the question you're trying to ask, what's the point? I got it. But the way things change in this town, and I'm unless I misunderstand, it's the five of us, and if you don't like what's getting done, within the next 90 days, 2 of the 5 of us, and then next year, another 2 of the 5 of us are up for grabs. Why wouldn't you just change the leadership? Because if you don't change leadership, you don't change culture.
So going back to what I said, this provides a path, which I believe people might step up and say, okay, I see where it's going. I want to be a part of change. But right now, it seems very difficult to jump into something where you have an hour-plus talk about docks endlessly.
So
Some of the other things just seem...
Now, that dock thing, yes, it's contentious.
Well, let's not go down that path, but that's a recent example where
but
we felt...
If you mentioned it, I have to say, it's a contentious thing because there are a split group on how to determine that. Now, if there was a different board, that board might come together with a quick answer to the docks. Sometimes people aren't going to see the same way on a subject.
Oh, I get that.
And there has to be lots of
and hopefully
BS
that's what you pay us to do.
lots of BS that happens before you end up finding a middle ground, and that can happen. And it shouldn't happen a lot, but it does happen more than it should. I agree with you on that. I'm looking at this document, and I'm not against this document.
Thank you.
But there are some things that I see that would have to change a little bit. One, the $75,000, I think that the board would have to find a number that works for us.
That's why I said it's a draft. We want to work with you. We don't want to have a Mexican standoff.
All right, so then I go down to the line that says, should this warrant article pass, said report shall include actionable recommendations for Wolfeboro government. Okay, the hiring of a consulting firm, in my opinion, should be by unanimous vote of the blue ribbon team. And I'm sorry, I don't like the term blue ribbon team because when I looked it up for a definition on my phone, it's an exclusive group. And I don't like anything exclusive because I'm a poor bumpkin from a little country town. I don't like that wording, but if it's there, it's there. But I think that with 7 residents and 2 select board members, I would have to say that all 9 would have to pick the consulting firm in unison. There could not be a faction divided of 5 to 4, 6 to 3, because you're going to start right off from ground level without people being on the same page.
So, Brian, I'd like to just state to you again, this is a draft. We want to work with you. We want to hear some movement towards, we hear what you're saying.
Yep.
Wolfeboro citizens who've signed on to this, we see validity. I don't want a Mexican standoff, nor do my colleagues on Citizens for Wolfeboro or those who signed it. And I think we're here to bring out the best in what's happening. It's not.
So let me.
We're not saying it's an audit to criticize.
So let me understand. So the team of 9 would then look at the process by which the consulting group uses. They would get a report with recommendations like the MRI report we got for the ambulance contract, and look at it and decide what they would have for recommendations based on that report to the town of Wolfeboro to help streamline operations processes, efficiencies, and other things. Is that correct?
So Brian, what you see there is a warrant article which tries to spell out something that will get to a first step in order to get some help, okay? Now, when you did the ambulance warrant article, that was very brief. It did not spell out numbers of people. It didn't spell out...
It didn't even talk about an ad hoc committee.
It was really brief. So you're asking to turn a warrant article into a work plan.
No.
I think
really,
we are remaining open, and please don't take every small component of that as gospel, because we're asking you.
Yeah. So
It's a draft. I'll
Yeah.
say it again. It's a draft.
So the ambulance service evaluation, to see if the town will vote to raise and appropriate the sum of $20,000 for the purpose of hiring a consultant to evaluate whether the town should operate a fire-based or a should operate a fire-based ambulance or maintain the contracted service. So the only thing different with this was we knew what company we were going to use, and we had told the citizens in town that we were going to use MRI, and we had a hard number that we knew we would come in under $20,000.
But it doesn't say that in the warrant article.
Yes, because we can only appropriate up to $20,000.
Yeah, but it doesn't say MRI and all that. I mean, you're asking me
Well, the
for lots of granular details, and...
Well, the MRI piece was spoken and told to the citizens multiple times at meetings. So
Yeah, but when you get in the voting booth, we are trying to put a framework together to move forward. We're trying to not be draconian and say, we want it this way, but we do want to do something to help.
So then I would this is the wording changes that I would like for the petition warrant. If I'm going to say, okay, this is going to the next step and going to go to a warrant.
Then work with your fellow select board members.
Okay. Well, I have to ask this group, because this group wrote this draft. Are those acceptable?
I think we've met you more than halfway. We're asking you guys to act in some way and not kick it back to us to make comments on a draft that we've put forth to help you.
But if I make changes to it because I think that this is what I would want to see in it, what if that is not acceptable to your group?
We're giving you the authority and the courtesy and the first right to do what you want.
Okay.
Okay?
Yeah, I could get behind it if that blue ribbon committee became an ad hoc committee under the Board of Selectmen, because then it would be a public committee.
Fine.
And I'm just, bringing up, you wanted us to react, and
That's right.
here's my reaction to it, is if it was an ad hoc committee, and that we'd have minutes and everything, and it would be totally open to the public, and that the Board of Selectmen appoint the people to that committee.
Sure.
I think it puts it into the elected officials' hands, and we can set it up similar, and I'm sure we can write this, if that's what you're asking, in whatever manner we have, to get the intent, which is what I'm hearing you say now. You would like to have the intent of what you've written here, us to put into a warrant article.
That is acceptable to you. We took it this far, and we're saying we'd like it to be an iterative document that will satisfy the vision that people signed on to.
Can you tell me how you got the 75?
So, and that's it's an iterative document. So if you guys came back and said, we think differently, we did some research, and I talked to some municipal people and some town managers, and...
Okay, you did some research to get 75.
I did, and
Thank you.
I'm not at liberty to say who I spoke with, so...
Okay, again, so as long as it's malleable, I'm behind it too.
That's what we've said every single time we've stood at the mic, is that we really want to work with you on this, and citizens we want this to be the way to go.
So my take is, I like to see less dilution. I like to see it be way more focused. I said to the group the other day when we met, when you showed us the first draft, is this a person that we lock in the room with Jim? They come up and strategize and come up with a plan, and then they work through these problems, or if it's with this board, it becomes diluted, and then if it goes out to another committee, it gets diluted. I'd rather just focus on a few prime issues so that you can solve some items, then you can get some wins, and then you can build on those wins and say, this is what we want to do. I'm supportive of it, and but that's kind of where I'd like to see it.
Well, I think when we said deliverable, actionable items, I truly believe a consultant's going to see a lot of good, and they're also going to say, here are some things to work on. And they may be focused, and I think it depends on the task force or whatever you guys want to call it. I mean, I think it's really dependent on the process. You get the right people in the room, I think it would go that direction.
So I kind of am with Paul a little bit as far as, yeah, you hire the consultant, they make the recommendations, but I want somebody to be there to follow through on this if we're going to put some effort into this so that we can actually get something accomplished. It isn't, I mean.
Totally agree.
It's a big task, to tell you the truth. There's
Totally
a lot.
agree.
Yep.
And I think other towns that have done, major work like this, no pain, no gain. And sometimes the hardest part is the follow through.
And I don't think that people can look at it as an axe to grind. It may be good for us.
Yep.
Can't be.
And I would volunteer for this as a select board member, absolutely, 100%.
I think we all would volunteer, so that will be another issue,
We'll have a.
Hats off to you guys for taking on more work, but sometimes work yields results, so you might end up working more efficiently in the future. Who knows?
Dave?
Well,
Again, thanks, this is good. My question isn't answered about if you want to change the culture of an organization, change doesn't start from the bottom. It never starts in the middle. It starts at the top. And I'm not going to ask for a show of hands of how many of you folks have ever done one of these. I've done one or two, some successful, some not, because there's a little video out there of somebody sitting with their head in their hands saying, I just went through the reorganization of my company. It's a gruel. So my question goes unanswered. If you want to change the culture, you change leadership. And I don't understand the answers I get because I've been doing, and I shared this with my colleagues the other night. I said, listen, I'm not trying to get you guys booted out because, I may be next year. and they're all like, no, let's get a decision from you as to what you need here from us. And the quickest way to do that, and I got to say, my initial read on this was, let's just, to hell with you selected people, let's just move in. I don't buy that at all.
Say that again. I didn't understand what
My
that
initial impression was,
Yep.
did you have that too?
Yeah.
Yeah, but tell me what you're really saying.
Articulate.
Well, I think that's when I said in an ad hoc group and the board, it's under the Board of the Selectmen and the Board of Selectmen approve it. One of my remarks was you have unnamed people who are going to oversee the process and will give the final recommendations by the way it was read. And that when
we won't do that.
When it becomes an ad hoc committee that's under the Board of Selectmen, two, that it's open to the public because we'll have minutes and all that.
Right.
Then I start saying, okay. That's a good process than what I read here. And
You guys-
I had the same feeling.
Yeah, so Linda and I shared a common thought there.
With complete respect, you guys are the leaders. And so if you say, we want it to fit within our process because there'll be better buy-in and follow-through, that's hallelujah.
So if I could just continue, and I'll finish briefly. the way I've always looked at things is you try to figure out right at the get-go who does what.
Yep.
I've been on this board now, came back 2 years. I am confused as to who does what, and you guys are too. I get text messages, and this is going to come across as whining, and it's not meant to be. I get text messages telling me what I should do, and my question back to the sender is, have you talked to the town manager about that? No. And I go, I think I'm confused as to who does what. That's corrosive.
It's not good for you, and it's not good for the citizen.
Right? But it points to me in a more less upset manner. It points to me that there is clear confusion as to who does what. Who does what here? Who does what there? Who does what in the departments? And if we're not clear about who does what, then it's really opaque as to how stuff gets done, other than yelling and screaming, and you've heard the word because I've used it, the special interests who come forward and say, what about my road dock? Whatever it is. So I'd start with who does what. That would be the first thing I'd do.
And I think
I understand you're going to say that would be great. Well,
no, but I think a consultant would do that.
I hope. And I'm going to use a word that I think needs to be put on the table because this to me is what I have observed in many organizations that have done extremely well and are now a memory to many people. Culture. The C word. We have to assess what that is. Here, there, us. Because if we don't get that one right, culture will kill strategy every day of the week. I was taught that in some business failure that I was involved in. And if you really want to understand culture, whoever wrote question 23, answer it. Question 23.
I can't remember what 23 is.
Town planner resignation after 3 months. Citizens want to know, what did we learn? Culture. And it's not just the culture here. It's the culture of our boards. It's the culture of the way we conduct operations. And unless we're willing to just in a very respectful way, just strip it down and look at it and put it back together, we're screwed. It's a waste of time and money.
That's the hard work.
And the only thing I'll say before I end, I know that there was somebody gave me an intimation today, a hint, that there was one of these, if you guys don't sign up for this, we're taking you into a default budget. My only ask to you is don't take it out on our people. Don't do that. We're going to try like hell to pass a budget and do the best we can, even if it means we've got to move things into different buckets. Don't take this out on our people. And by the way, thank you, whoever did this. I didn't hear much in this document about your people are a bunch of, whatevers. It was aimed at decision making. It was aimed at managing. It was aimed at organizing. Don't take it out on our people, which means just give us a break. Be tough on us with the budget, but please don't. For those who intimated, if you don't do A, I'll do B.
Well, that maybe is
that's
more
scorched earth.
It might be more symptomatic of the underlying frustration.
The culture. If I don't get what I want, you don't get what you want. It's called crabs in the bucket. Crab mentality. Look it up. I'm not doing it to you. Look it up.
I better go look it up.
It's an easy one. Thank you for letting me vent.
All right, so
I asked Dave and I get it next. You need it. I guess one of the things that I feel very important about this board is that we meet here in public and try to work it out. We can't go and work it out in private and then come out with a solution. You watch us talk, try to make decisions. And so that's what any board should do, and that's why I really want ad hoc, because I want the public to see even that group have the struggles they're going to have. The other thing is the culture that I have in all those meetings that I have, either with the library, EDC, Wolfeboro, the team of volunteers in this town, that work endlessly to help us have all the things that we do. Just hearing the Abenaki Outing Club, volunteering, that's all part of what makes my culture, and I think is so important and significant about Wolfeboro. If we can make some of our mechanics, this to me is more mechanics of running it, but the culture, the giving, the support of people in this community is outstanding. And I
That's
don't
the
want
other seat,
us,
sorry.
I don't want us to lose track of that in our conversation here.
Well, we talked, when I first spoke with you, I said town is two things. It's, you know, it's a legal entity, but it's also community. And, you know, to enhance the fabric of this town is really the intent. And to make your lives easier, I mean, I'm blown away how hard you work, but sometimes there are ways that could help you work more efficiently.
I was really responding to Paul's about the negative
The C word.
comments. Yeah, that you can go out in here and work on all sorts of committees with people of this community and really make a difference.
And some of us have served, and some of us, you know,
it's part of what
had
we are.
great experiences and learned a lot, and that's why we're more in love with Wolfeboro and we care more. So it's all part of, I mean, if we don't all try to improve, where are we?
Dave?
All right, Brian?
I'll make a motion to have the select board draft a warrant article that creates an ad hoc committee to hire a consulting firm to have an independent review and report of Wolfeboro's town government, its operation, processes, efficiency, workplace culture, and organizational structure, and follows the spirit of the citizens of Wolfeboro recommendation.
Linda?
I don't want to second that. I would like us to write up, each one of us, different drafts of this and come back and put together one that goes on to...
Is your mic on, Linda? Is your mic on?
Did you push the button? Timothy, for God's sake.
It's when you turn your heads, guys.
Can I?
It's not on.
Dave? Linda?
I just would like to
Here.
spend some... I just would like to spend some time us writing it as a board and then come back and then make a motion to put it on the warrant.
I'm going to support that as well. I think we should not spend time wordsmithing,
Thank you.
okay? It's a waste of time.
Well, my motion is just
I haven't finished.
for us to do exactly what Linda said.
I haven't
Is
finished.
for us to create a draft, for the select board to create a draft, which means that we all go home, we write our own stuff.
If you stopped it right there...
That's right.
Yeah, so wouldn't I.
All the other stuff that went on with it.
I haven't finished.
Paul?
So I agree that our task should be to write something, draft it up, and do it in a way that we don't get it the day of our board meeting. So, Mr. Town Manager, we're going to ask you to do the hard pencils down.
I'm willing to work on it.
Yeah, me too. And if it's at the last minute, then it doesn't get on the table.
Well,
But I would also just ask, and this is not pushing back at Linda, because Linda and I have these conversations a lot. Don't start with preconditions. Everything's on the table. Answer questions about what we learn, how we organize, how we manage, how we set priorities, how things like, and I'm gonna do it again, and I'm sorry for doing this. I conducted a very, very thorough exit conversation with Bill Scott. He was an adult. He is an adult. Smart person. The question was fit. The fit. And that equals culture. And I understand, Linda, the spirit of giving, and what we saw with the Abenaki Outing Club. Let's not, and you're not doing it, and I know you're not doing it, but let's get into the sauce. Let's dig in and find out how we let things get rusty.
Thank you.
And that's my only point on that. All right? No preconditions. Thank you.
It's more public.
Just a minute.
So are we under agreement at least that we are going to go forward and draft this? We don't need a motion to say that we are
No,
going to
we
go forward
don't.
and draft something?
We're going to work together and draft something. We're going to also probably get it to Ann so that she has some say in it as well, as far as what because otherwise we're going to go around in circles again. So
Brian's
we need to incorporate.
Brian,
her
we don't need a
group as
motion.
well.
We need to get something to you, Dave, with some thoughts, consolidate them, and get them out to you folks. But we need to get a pencils down date so that we're not giving each other the bum's rush.
And I'm not the author. That is a group effort.
Yeah, well-
So just, yeah, I will be the point person for the.
I guess that's what
Thank
I'm
you for that. Yeah. No, I just want people to know that I'm not like, some kind of dictator.
So
You're
you're
in
saying that
charge.
50 people spent 2.5 years on this. I think we should use it as an outline. A lot of people did a lot of work for us. What do we do? We're going back and starting from scratch and kicking the can down the road.
I want to get something in writing before I vote on a motion.
Okay. We all in agreement on that then?
I agree.
We
I
will-
think that's what gets us in trouble, is this last minute, spinning
Soon
up
as we
words, and then we
can,
have to.
we will get together.
Thanks, Timothy.
I want to thank you for your comments. I look forward to working with you, and I speak for others that we have high hopes that we can do some tough work and make some progress.
You still
Thank you
haven't
very
answered
much.
my hard
Is
question.
there anybody else
You still
want
haven't
to?
answered the question.
I will later. Thank you.
Thanks.
Good evening, Derek Brown, Libby Street. I've been listening to this for a while, goes back a couple of years, in a generalities sense. Mr. O'Brien, I like your comments tonight. They reflect on that word culture that I keep bringing up kind of like a broken record. So I guess I'm going to discuss this as brief as I can. I will think about November 19th, where Mr. Thurston made a comment about creating a firewall so Mr. Pinio could do his job. I couldn't agree more. And that has to do with the culture, how people are used to working on the select board. Now, I'm going to go a little deeper on that comment I'm making. I see 5 members that make their best effort at not working together. Now, that might be just the public view of this. Maybe it's a whole lot better behind the scenes, but the public view is nothing but constant conflict, not trying to work together, interrupting one another, disrespecting one another. So, to take Mr. O'Brien's comment a step further, show of hands of the board, if I could. Anybody familiar with RSA 41:A-E?
Not off the top of my head.
Okay, great. I hoped you wouldn't, because I'd get to read it. The effective manner and date to either increase or decrease the number of select board members. Here's how this works. It's very straightforward. It's a New Hampshire RSA. If you have a certain number of select board members and you think maybe you need to change that number, you can either increase or decrease it from 3 to 5 or vice versa. The process is very straightforward. And as you mentioned, change the culture, change leadership. Maybe there's a level here of lacking confidence in the public, which is why we have that default budget 2 years in a row. I don't think the idea of it being a 3rd year in a row is preposterous from what I watch and how money is spent and the lack of getting along. Brian, I'm going to call you out. The repeated interruption and not listening to what's being asked of you. I think it's an issue. So, here it is. If we wanted to go from the town of Wolfeboro to write a warrant article to go from 5 to 3 selectmen, here's how simple it works. A warrant article gets passed. All 5 members, acting, sitting members of the Select Board, have a reset of a 12-month period. You are now a selectman for those next 12 months. That first anniversary from the voting of going to 3, there is a staggered re-implementation. 3 seats are available. So it's an opportunity for the public to see what 3 are doing the best job for the town of Wolfeboro and working together to implement what the Wolfeboro wants to see. After the year 1 and those 3 people are voted in, they stagger their periods. The first 2 are for 3 years and then a 1 year. And they eventually, by the 3rd year, have 3 acting members that are staggered once again. So it's a very real process. It's very straightforward. If this was presented in a warrant article that we'd like to consider the town voting on going from 5 to 3 members, and it passes, everybody, regardless of when their renewal or up for re-election happens, they're on a 12-month window, period. And it gets re-implemented from there. I personally would like to see that happen. Thank you.
Anybody else want to speak to this? Otherwise, we'll go on to our next agenda item.
Thanks, everybody.
Paul, did you have something?
No, he just.
No, I just said thank you to everybody.
Okay. Review of warrant articles.
Yeah.
Okay, so in front of you, you have updated document relative to our warrant articles. I've got a lot of the information that you had asked for after the last review, which is tied into this presentation. There is still some outstanding items which we need to get complete with staff. I think as you are aware, there have been a couple of staff members who've been on vacation the past couple weeks, so some of this stuff is still needs some work as well. We are in the process of impact negotiations related to the ambulance, so that's not complete as of yet. I'm hopeful that as of Friday, we're going to be pretty close to having that one buttoned up. That one, as far as the impact negotiations is concerned, we've got until mid-January to get that complete. So the first article, Article A, lays out the costs. These costs are in alignment with what was outlined in the 2025 warrant. For those expenses, we're currently running a report, or building a report that will show you the 2025 expenses, 2025 approved, the 2025 expended, the 2026 proposed, and the 2027 proposed. So you'll have that all on a single sheet for you to review. But right now, the number is $1,052,871. That's to hire 4 more firefighter EMS personnel. That's to outfit those employees, and that is to purchase a fully equipped ambulance. Questions?
Yes, and my understanding that one of those 4 firefighters is from a position that was in one of our default budgets and got taken out, or we've got them for half a year and this finishes it. Can you explain that to the public?
Sure, Linda. So for a number of years, we've been trying to get to the number of 12 within the fire department. As that has transpired, we got the first 2 on board from 9 to 10, and then 9 to 11, and then we were going 9 to 12. And that last staffing for that 12th position was removed as part of the default budgets. So as we went through the budget deliberations here, the budget committee the Board of Selectmen recommended we back that out and put that amount into this warrant article because the whole program for ambulance service is contingent on that number of 18 people working on the floor So we will get that 12th individual, plus the 4 hired last year and these 4 this year.
Thank you.
Yeah, I was, apologize, I was trying to raid the refrigerator for some water. The impact discussions we're having, Jim, those are going to have an effect on this 1052 number, right? Or are we going to carve it out separately and put it out for vote?
It's more questions Friday that will get answered. I've had that exact conversation with Nathan, legal counsel, and we're going to beat that up Friday as we go through our deliberations.
So the benefit of the public, we have impact negotiations going on with the union, the ambulance union, and those are going to result in a number, and this is premised on a number which may not be the ultimate one. So the question is going to be, do we plus up this thing, or do we take the whole thing out as a separate conversation for a union contract? And that's what the lawyer's going to have to give us some counsel on. Okay, thank you, Jim.
Yeah, because the original version of this that I had did have those impact negotiations tied into this warrant article, but he is now thinking, based on some research, that the CBA, collective bargaining agreement, needs to be broken out into a standalone article. The question then becomes, do the costs for these new employees get tied into this, or do they stay in that number?
But we're still looking at a number around the same amount.
Yeah.
Yeah, because you're going to ask us at some point today whether we want to go forward. So this estimate, whether it's in 1 or 2, is pretty accurate.
This is very
estimate.
This is very close.
Okay.
This is very close.
Well, the second question is going to be healthcare too.
Yeah. So healthcare is going to be a wild card that we all know is going to be a wild card for a number of years to come.
Okay, but we're not going to put a warrant article out for health insurance. We're looking at the total amount of.
I'm just trying to figure out what bucket we're sticking this stuff in. That's all.
I'm just trying to figure out what we need to vote on tonight.
Yeah, you are correct. There will be no warrant article relative to health care at this point.
Thank you.
And again, for the benefit, Dave, if I could.
Well,
thank you. And for the benefit of the public, we've continued the ad hoc ambulance team to build my words, a credible sales presentation to the community as to why we're prosecuting this path. There are maybe some detractors out there that says, you shouldn't do this anymore, stop. And we don't know where that stands, but we're not doing it for that purpose. We're doing it because you've been thoughtfully telling us we got to do a much better job explaining this ambulance business and why we're doing the things we're doing. So that committee met last week. Was it last week?
Yeah.
Yeah, and then we're going to meet next week, I guess, again.
So yeah, I would say that the purpose of getting the ad hoc ambulance committee back together is so that if citizens have questions on why we're going a certain direction, those questions can be answered. Plus, we want to show them the state of where we are in the process, that we've come to this point and that this will be the last hurdle until we get to a fully operational fire-based system.
Doing the bulk.
We're not voting on anything. We're doing. They're not even final.
So I think last time we spoke about the data, how we got here, all the numbers, give us a layout of everything that's going on. And I think Ian got up to the microphone and said, yeah, it's fuzzy math. We want you to show us directly what's going on. I think we still need to produce that.
Wholeheartedly agree, John. It's in process. As I indicated, we're going to have a single document that lays out the expenses approved in 2025, the expenses incurred in 2025, the proposed expenses in 2026, and the proposed expenses in 2027. So that will be all done on a single spreadsheet It'll probably be multiple pages, but it'll be a single spreadsheet with a summary. Okay, so no action to take on this one at this point. Your next one is the Public Works grant vehicle, $285,000 for the replacement of a six-wheel dump truck with the Department of Public Works. This project sees grant funding in the amount of $187,897.50, which will be shown as a revenue because we have to gross appropriate. Therefore, the actual tax impact on this replacement of this truck is $97,102.50. You as a board have already agreed to this grant proposal contingent upon approval at town meeting. Linda?
Yeah, I was wondering in the second paragraph when we say $187,879.50 that we should also put it is 66% of the project. Sometimes people do better with percentages than numbers. And so give it to them in two ways.
Yep. I can add that narrative to that. That's not a big deal. Okay. Moving forward, town road upgrades. I've actually met with John on this one. As you recall, you as the board voted to do the replacement of the culvert at Jockey Cove. The question for you is, do we put this into the road money or do we put this as a standalone warrant article? The director has estimated the replacement cost of this at approximately $100,000. I had a quick conversation with John on the topic. So I'm not sure if you want to bring this to an even million or if you want to do a standalone warrant article. The director will be back next week. He's still on vacation.
So, go ahead, Linda. You go for it.
I would put it out as a separate warrant article.
Yeah, so I would rather see it as a separate warrant article.
$100,000?
Yes, absolutely.
Mm-hmm.
No, I think it's kind of where I am. It's
I'm in
going to
the
be that
gadzooks.
much
That's
to
the
read.
gadzooks.
Yes, that's where I am too, just to do that.
But I agree, we should put it out as a separate
Separate,
piece of
yeah.
paper, but we
Okay.
probably got some explaining to do there.
So that will be corrected in the next version that you get.
I've got some questions here, and one of the things that I did, because I hear people saying, we don't explain it, so I went back to our road upgrades and looked at what we present during the deliberative session in the slides. And in 2022, we put $1 million towards our road. This was the year we thought it was a great idea to use the unassigned fund balance. And we did Maplewood, Berrywood, Jiminy, Deer Run, and Chipmunk lanes. And I know those got done. North Whooper, Haynes Hill, paved section. I'm not sure that we necessarily paved Haynes Hill. And then there was $100,000 for engineering. Then in 2023, we did $850,000, and we worked on, and there have been some questions about some of these roads, finalized Maplewood area project. But we did Trask Mountain Road, Upper Trask Mountain Road, Diamond Corner, Haynes Hill Road, and then there was engineering for the 2024 roads. So when in this coming year they're talking about just paving the one section of Trask Mountain Road, my understanding is in 2023 we did all the drainage culvert and all the work was done under this warrant article. Then in 2024, we did a Pleasant Valley Road overlay, Townsend Dam outflow, dirt road upgrades, Beach Pond section, and Upper Haynes Hill Road reclaim and base. And then we did some culvert work. But I asked Jim this, we had a list for 2025. It was the municipal parking lot Linda's Florist and the municipal parking lot Town Hall. My understanding, Jim, is that those two have not been done. I'm not quite sure what we were doing on Union Street. Do you know whether we did Union? Okay, we didn't do that. But we did do Partridge Drive, Maplewood, Berrywood, Jiminy, Deer Run, and Chipmunk. Those were just the second overlay. We did Sewell Road. We reclaimed the section base. We did Point Sewell base and pave. We did a section of Beach Pond Road. We sealed Middleton Road, and we did some work on dirt roads. All the rest of them, I think we accomplished. I would like those checked, but this is laid out on our presentations as we go to the deliberative session, and so I've been thinking that maybe we have to do a better job of getting some of these slides that we show just at the deliberative session, maybe up on some Facebook pages or something, so people have a number of ways to check it out.
John?
So I'd like to speak to the Jockey Cove culvert. So the Jockey Cove discussion has a couple different legs on it. The legs primarily where they lay right now is that there's a culvert in the right-of-way easement that goes across this property at 208 Forest Road, and the culvert doesn't work, it's collapsed. So any of that water that runs down the side of Forest Road overtakes the area off to the side, goes across that property, and then goes down into their shorefront and would wash out their beach and their property. The town has a right-of-way easement where that culvert presently exists. The discussion is to move that culvert out to have two clean-out basins on the front end and the back end, and then go straight across the town's right-of-way, which is adjacent right next to the road. In doing so, the requirement would be that where that culvert is right now, you have to get from that lowland towards the road a little bit with a short culvert into the basin, then down the side of the road into another basin, and then down the Kerry. The discussion was by the Public Works Director, a number grab out of the air on what that number was. Then the discussion was, well, we had that sewer line extension project down there, and there was some money that was in that sewer line extension project. And so Jim gave us a synopsis of how we could extract some of that money out of that fund that remains in there so that we wouldn't have to put it on the taxpayer. So I'd like Jim to at least be able to speak to that a little bit from that discussion.
Sure. Do you remember all that after going to the bathroom?
Sure. So what John is speaking about is the sewer line extension, which was performed down there. There was a balance of funds remaining. We have a couple of ways to be able to use those funds. We can utilize those funds to pay down the principal on the debt, which we've done the past 2 years on, I believe it's a 10-year note. Mm-hmm. Or we could, if we so desired, repurpose it under a new warrant article. However, that comes with some stipulations. Whereas this was a bond, we would have to go through the bond process again in order to repurpose those funds, which means we would have to hold a bond hearing. We would have to engage with bond counsel. It would have to go on the warrant, and it would have to pass by 3/5 majority to be able to utilize those funds for that project. I think that's what you wanted summarized, correct, John? So in the other aspect, we haven't
we haven't hired an engineer. The engineer hasn't given us a build price. And so right now, again, this was a number grab out of the air from the Public Works Director saying he thought it was going to be this much money. So we really aren't defined well at this cost price.
Jim, how much is in that, that sewer?
I want to
Extension.
say it's approximately $230,000.
230,000.
Linda?
Yeah, I guess my feeling is if we don't have any engineering, and this is just a guess, that we don't move forward with it.
No.
I just don't think that's good. And I think that we raise the money from the taxpayers for a bond, and I would like to use that money left over to keep on paying down the bond, because the taxpayer gets a real benefit for them, and let them choose whether they want to do a new project. I totally support what you're saying, John. I think that's the right way for us to go, but I don't think we have, unless we can get accurate figures, I don't want to go out without having that. And when we get that, then we have time that we could decide to add it later.
So we have to go out and get money so that we can hire an engineer and come up with the costs.
No.
There you go again, being logical.
Well,
Yeah,
we
so-
can take some of the money that's in the road and not do something they're listing and put for engineering. I absolutely would support that.
So why don't we do a couple things on this? I will take, Steve will be back next week. I'll sit down with Steve, see if we can get a more concrete number regarding engineering and linear footage of repair. That way he will be able to stand here in front of you on the 17th and speak much better than I can on the topic.
Okay.
Dave?
Paul?
Keying off, I'm not into the culvert thing, John. This I would rely on Jim, Steve, and the finance minister to tell us what the right way is to go about this. But we shouldn't build anything that we haven't designed, because we know how that turns out. Over and over again, and then we sit around and go, how do we do that? Which is dumb. But keying off what Linda said, Linda just rattled off the effort by the highway department, which went right in this year and probably came out and fell on the floor. And take Jim and all of us take a lesson from what we've been getting from the yellow pages and the person who stood up in front of us. Let's find a way to get the highway department featured as what they do. How many miles of roads do we have, Brian? 69, 72? Whatever the number is.
Well, it's right in
Yeah,
the presentation.
Let's get something that features, the work we're doing
67.5 miles of
in
roads.
terms of paving, cleaning up our roads, culverts and infrastructure, and I have no idea how to build that. But maybe, the marketing department out there could help us figure this out, because absent that, people just do worry that, our roads don't get prioritized properly, we don't get them done well, and all of that. So I would just, as a work item hate to put that one on you, but as a work item for our highway folks, we should do that, and it probably should be something that you'd find its way into the warrant presentation, and then I'll put in a plug for Wambeck Road. But that's a different issue.
Okay, so I'll get you more information, and I'll circle around with Steve on, I believe it's Tuesday. Crescent Lake Ave. Again, I got to meet with Steve on this next week. In doing some more research, this went through CIP. It went through a CIP as a CAS project. However, when I got into last year's rate model for the water department, it indicated that this project under the Water Enterprise Fund was to be bonded, not a cash project. So I've got a meeting scheduled with Steve, Sam, Josh and myself next week to go over this, to look at the fund balance and have a conversation whether or not this should be a bonded project or if we can actually absorb it in a cash outlay.
And I guess I got, Dave.
Go ahead, Linda.
I have concerns because we're taking a bunch out of the unassigned fund balance for the water fund. We did 175 for the hydrant, and then I was thinking of this one, so I really would like a close look at that.
I agree.
The other thing I would like to, and one of the things to be clear to the voters, I don't know how much of the money that's coming out of the taxation is going to go for the construction of Lake Avenue.
Yep.
And I think it would be nice and to get to know how much of the rebuild and how much that costs, because we do in other project work on roads.
Yep.
And it isn't always in there, so it might help if we could kind of break some of that out in terms of listing it, the amount of money for each, because that's coming out of taxation.
And Jim, I just quickly asked Linda, I think I remember, when we were doing, with the state, when we were doing the project down at the falls, we ran a water line and stubbed it at the end of Pine Street. Is that what we did?
No,
Is this going to complete it?
When we did Center Street, there's a water line went up Pine
We stubbed it on Pine Street, didn't
at
we?
the end, yeah.
And will this connect that whole thing, so now we have a...
Yeah, I think it's all connected now, but I think the takeaway is that the new pipe is connected to some very vintage
My
pipe.
unclarity.
Yes.
We have
we're good.
water there now completely.
Yes,
We put in a new line on Pine Street going up past Gary's, or maybe stopping it, or going past Gary's.
yes, to about
But,
Crescent.
you know, we want to put a new water line connecting to the new water line, so we now have new water line all the way through. Is that kind of right?
So we want to connect the loop from South Main Street
Correct.
all the way down
Yeah,
around
okay.
to that new pipe.
I just want to understand the
Correct.
expenditure, that's all. Thank you. Appreciate that. But I agree with Linda, we got to keep our eyes on what we're doing with the unassigned.
Yeah, so
fund.
there's more to follow on this. The other thing that you may recall, last year we did appropriate, I believe it was $325,000 from the water fund for River Street, which River Street is scheduled to be done in 2026. So there's a lot of questions that I got to get answered on this based on my review of the Underwood rate report from
it
last
sounds
January.
good that you do that.
Sounds good. You do.
Sounds like we need that.
Contracted ambulance service, again, this is an item that will be shown, as John indicated, in a standalone spreadsheet outlining those costs and where they are all accounted for going forward.
This is the pay down on the Stewart side?
Correct.
Okay, so for the benefit of the public, this is, we still currently have a provider, not us, in the town. You know, we will be ramping our service, and they'll be tailing their service, and this is the pay down. It's not a payoff, it's the pay down of that cost.
So back to the River Street. So last year, we voted to approve the River Street rebuild. $150,000 from the Water Enterprise Fund shall be used for the purpose of replacing the vintage water mains which currently service River Street, and $200,000 comes from general taxation.
Yeah, thanks, Sean. So that's stuff that we've all got to sit down and, with Sam, myself, and Steve, and get balanced.
Because I think River Street was part of the fee structure that we did.
It was already
In
accounted
that-
for and closed
Yeah.
when they came forward last year,
Yep.
correct?
Correct.
Sidewalks. So again, in front of you, you still have the three options for sidewalks. A couple of questions answered for you. Number one is there's $11,705 left in that capital reserve account. And then I was able to get from Steve an inventory of some of the repairs that he thinks he would like to do, and he's looking at an allocation of $40,000 for paved sidewalks from North Main Street, from Mill to Old Lakeview Terrace. And then he's also looking for $35,000 for concrete repairs in the downtown area, IGA by Citizens Bank sidewalk in front of Downtown Grill, sidewalk in front of the post office, sidewalk in front of Berkshire Hathaway, sidewalk going over the bridge on both sides of the road, sidewalk in front of Bootleggers, sidewalk in front of Nolan's, sidewalk in front of the Christmas Cottage, sidewalk in front of Back Bay Clothing, sidewalk in front of Four Cellars, Seven Sons Cafe needs multiple spots repaired, and sidewalk in front of DP Nails. That's the scope of work that he would like to be able to get done next year. So the question becomes, that's $75,000. Would you like to do that as cash, or would you like to do both, a cash and a capital reserve appropriation?
Jim? Or Dave?
Yeah, go ahead.
Thank you. Will you go?
No, you go first, I'll go after.
So I want just something to just to clear the it's not confusion, but just clear up something. So unless I misunderstand, we were kind of on hold doing some of the downtown sidewalks because we were anticipating there would be this state project, which would be what phase 2 or whatever we were going to call it, right?
There's no plan to further down in front.
Yeah, so I think that, there's a question about finalizing all of those sidewalks in the future and when that occurs based on getting the sewer and the stormwater complete. This, I do not believe, impacts any of that because these are necessary repairs that I believe you as the board walked around with Steve and identified.
Yeah, we did.
Yep.
Well, the reason I bring it up is it's just a data point to keep in our, on the side of our head is the state has been compressing their funds to do things, and they have been prioritizing lists. And I'm not going to speak about who I talked to because it would be hearsay, but it strikes me from what I've what I've heard from people is the likelihood that we're going to get a state project in the downtown area in the next 2 handfuls of years is ambitious. Is that a fair, you think?
I just want to be clear. You're speaking about the sewer project.
Yes.
I would say that's a very fair assessment, Paul.
So the likelihood that
we actually scored worse this year than we did last year on this project. That's why you don't see a sewer line project in front of you because there's no funds from the state to do it.
So the reason I bring it up is I think we have a clear view or clear line of sight on what needs to be done from a sidewalks point of view. And if we were to say, hey, let's kind of wait because we might get something from the state, we're falling farther and farther behind from a scoring point of view. So I just say, if we think this is the right thing to do collectively, do it.
And I would say that we should keep.
Linda was up next.
Okay.
Again, I went back and I looked at 2022 and 2023. Both of those years, we spent $75,000 on putting money into the sidewalk capital reserve fund. And what I would like to do is see what we spent that 75 on. I know in 2025 we did the sidewalk in South Wolfeboro. I'd kind of like to look at where we are on the sidewalks and try to see what we should do, because when we went in, they looked in 2023, we had 7.5 miles of sidewalk. 64.1% of the sidewalks were classified as poor. 10.4 was sidewalks were fair in condition, and 25.5 sidewalks were classified in good condition. So I would kind of like to see where we are and what we've done. And then the question for me is, I'm not into putting something in the capital reserve account. I think we either spend 75 or 150,000 and start getting some of these sidewalks done.
I agree with that. I'm sorry, go ahead.
So,
I agree with that.
so one other piece of sidewalk we did, Linda, was right after Melanson Real Estate, if you're going up on North Main on the left, they did the whole tar up from Meredith Village Savings Bank down. So they did do that one. So I'm torn between these two because the capital reserve fund for sidewalks is supposed to be a savings account for when we want to do a large project for sidewalks. And the $75,000 that he wants to do, the list that he put forward is a maintenance thing. So we have $11,500 in the capital reserve fund, and people want us to use capital reserve funds as capital reserve funds. If we leave $11,500 in a capital reserve fund, then there's really not a lot you can do with it. So I would almost, and it doesn't have to be 75 and 75. We can do something different. We can put 50 into the capital reserve fund and 100 into building, to repairing sidewalks if the board thinks we need more for that. But when we, and Steve has said this to us, when he gets to a section where a long section of concrete sidewalk needs to be rebuilt, he wants to have the money because he said you can't find contractors to only do 50 feet. It doesn't happen. They don't want to do that. To mobilize and get there and to do the work and for them to make it affordable for us and them to make a decent profit on the project, the contractors want to do large sections. So there is something to be said about putting some money aside for a reserve fund when we need to do large concrete sidewalk sections, and the citizens seem to prefer the concrete sections, especially in downtown. It lowers the heat 15 to 20 degrees coming off the sidewalks in the summertime, and it's aesthetically a little bit nicer than an overlaid asphalt on the sidewalks.
You're next. Thanks.
So I think we did multiple sections. We did in front of Arani, we did over next to Melanson's on the jewelry store side, we did in front of the downtown grill, and we did up there in front of where you just described. Our sidewalks are like an old car in New England that rusts out. You have to cut out certain sections and then fix the section, then cut out another section. And by the time we do that, you're going around the car, and then you're back to where the spot was rusted again. So we know that the people have told us, people have fallen, and there's problems, and we need to fix it. So Brian's right, contractors want to come in, you have to cut the big sections out, and then you have to do a complete section so that you don't have mid-sections and then another section, so you basically have to commit to long distances, even though some of the other areas aren't quite still good. You have to go the distance so that you can create long situations where everything is good. So we should spend the money and get it out the door right away. Dave. And as far as putting it in the budget or a standalone warrant article, I think that becomes the question to me.
Dave?
I saw it as a warrant article, just
me
not.
too.
Yeah,
Dave?
usually has been anyway.
Yeah.
Dave?
Paul?
Mr. Thurston sounded like he was giving a presentation for Chief Zadi's car that was rusting out the rocker panels, or maybe the PD. I simplify it. Get a picture of what we've worked on. Get a picture of what we think we ought to work on. The idea is to have more complete stuff and not spot treatments, and then figure out, do we how do we pay for it and how do we set aside? I mean, that to me is the equation.
Yeah. In the last
Right.
couple of weeks, I've walked.
That's the equation.
All the way across Boston. My wife and I walked through Beacon Hill and the whole bit and through downtown. And I walked all the way through the whole center of Englewood, New Jersey. We're not unlike those communities too, because their sidewalks were horrible. And I hope that we strive to be better than that and make our sidewalks safer and better looking. But I think that communities struggle as a whole with sidewalk and road repairs. It's difficult. It is difficult, and it's very, very expensive. We're probably, between warrant articles and what Steve Randall has in the budget, we're looking at almost $2 million, and Meredith is in the same thing. When I talked to their town manager, he said that they need at least $2 million just to maintain the roads that they have. And he'd like to spend more to make them in better shape than they are.
They ain't cheap.
No.
Okay, so I guess my takeaway on this is you'd like to see some photographs of the areas that need repair. I think that could be a little bit challenging based on what happened over the past 48 hours, but we'll see what we can put together. Okay, John, if we could get together and do that, that would be wonderful.
I think we could
How about
rely
having,
on
I
Steve.
also would like a list of what we've accomplished
Right.
with those sums of money, because we need to report out
Yep,
and tell them where we're
I can tell you
going.
right off the top of my head, we spent $134,000 this year from Weston's Corner back up to the high school. So, I will get that itemized list of what those expenditures have been. Okay, so moving on, sewer pump stations. I removed the term replacement. I got you some data points. So in 2025, we appropriated $100,000. We've have encumbered $57,500 for the sewer pump station evaluation, which is scheduled for delivery before April 20th, 2026, based on the contract, which means we have a balance of funds there of $42,500. We've expended $6,400 on repairs, so we've got a total balance remaining in funds in here of $36,042. This one's a tough one for me because I know we need to do this, but the hard part is I don't have a report to put my fingers on to say this is telling us what we need to do and this is the amount we need to allocate on an annual basis going forward. So that's my challenge on this one. Linda?
Yeah, I have a real hard time with this one, and I'd kind of like to hold. We still have not moved that much forward on the Mill Street pump station, which is our big one. And we still haven't bonded that one, so that still is going to at some point hit the tax rate in our operating budget. And we do have $36,000 if something happened here. And my gut feeling is, why don't we table this until next year? We'd have the report in, and then maybe we can have a better plan.
Dave?
Paul?
It may be a different point of view, but I'll go with the flow here. I think the Mill Street issue is it's a different issue to me. So we got the Sewell Road, a little pump station. We got Clark Road. Where else do we have, Jim?
Greenleaf,
Greenleaf.
Elm.
All right, Greenleaf. So
I can't remember where else.
Yeah, but we get these little itty bitty ones. The problem is if those things decide they don't want to work, then we have a problem. And they're recognized, back to the Rod Dempsey days, that those things had some concerns. Having said that, what about the prospect of scoring these things and saying, you know what, on a scale of 1 to 10, XYZ little pump station is in deep, I was going to say doo-doo, it is in deep doo-doo. And this one is a little better. I personally saw a pump station with the transfer switch, hanging off the side of it, and I said, I don't think that's right. So I would offer that maybe we score these I got it on the Mill Street thing. I got that. But I would offer we score these and then figure out what we want to do. You don't have a study. I got it, but maybe we just kind of put it out there a little bit. We can always pull it back.
Score what?
You know, prioritize them.
The individual pump stations?
The little guys.
So that's what this report's going to give you.
Okay? Well, you may need to get in front of that. And say, in the absence of the report, I'm spitballing here, but I think Green Street is going to be more important than Sewell Road is going to be less important. Just spitball it and see which ones we want to go after. I just think infrastructure to me, personally, unless it's frivolous, and I don't consider this frivolous, infrastructure is where we should pay attention.
So,
Okay, Jim, I think John wants to go.
so last year, the town raised and appropriated the sum of $900,000 for the purpose of paying for increased costs for Mill Street sewer pump station upgrades as approved by Warrant Article 15 in 2022, Warrant Article 17 in 2023, which is currently estimated at $3.143 million, and further to authorize the issuance of $900,000 in additional bonds and notes for this project in accordance with provisions RSA 33, and that was approved.
So we're going to do it. That's Mill Street.
But it hasn't, we haven't floated the bond, so the bond hasn't hit. And I'm looking at costs, and I'm ranking mine, and this one goes lower in mine than yours, and that's okay. We'll work it out later.
Well, if we've expended only $6,500 this year, we still have $36,000, so we still got plenty of money for repairs. That would be my feeling. That we just eliminate it.
Okay.
Take it out.
Well, that's a third option.
Well,
So I'll get, be sure Steve is here for the next meeting.
Shortly.
So my question is, it has a priority of 1 on it. And where did that priority 1 come from?
Yeah, so that was my prioritization,
Okay.
Brian.
All right. And your recommendation was from, I'm sure that you did it based on recommendations from someone.
So mine was done on the fact that CIP has indicated that we need to spend $100,000 a year going forward every year on each one of these pump stations, which I think is probably going to be darn close to accurate. But until I have that document that is shows the evaluation and the prioritization, I guess my priority has changed a little bit on that because, yes, the work needs to be done, but I don't know. This could come back and say, you know what, you need to appropriate $200,000. It may come back and say you only need to appropriate $50,000. I have no idea.
Yeah.
Yeah, but that's what you ask your team judgment.
So we know that Steve Randall came in front of us and said, we need to step on this one and get this taken care of so he can get something in the pipeline here for.
So if we have $36,000 in balance of funds remaining there, could we do a warrant article just for the evaluation for $57,500?
So that's already in flight, but if you're asking, could we do a warrant article of a lesser amount so that we have money in there to be able to continue to possibly do work? That is certainly an option that you as the Board of Selectmen can discuss.
Linda?
Yes, the CIP did recommend it, but the money amount was brought there by staff. So if we had put $50,000 a year, CIP would have approved that too. They're saying that makes sense to work on getting those 7 smaller pump stations repaired.
Okay, so more to follow on that next week when Steve's here, or in 2 weeks. Your next item is the Building Maintenance Capital Reserve Fund. Account's healthier than what I thought it was, $119,432. There might be a little bit coming out at the year's end, but I'm not positive on that. This is one that, again, I like to think that departments should be scheduling maintenance repairs to their buildings, and this shouldn't be used for those scheduled repairs. This is more for if a heating system goes mid-year or something catastrophic happens to a piece of HVAC equipment, to be able to get that thing repaired without having a tremendous negative impact on a department.
Dave? With a low priority assigned to it, could we cut the $50,000 down to a smaller number, 25,000? With the
Absolutely.
119,000 in the bank, that's enough to probably cover most of the repairs that we need if they were major repairs for heating or something like that.
Dave?
Paul?
The point that Brian's making, and Jim, you did it too. So when I hear, building maintenance, my head goes to painting the windows. But you qualified it by, and Brian, I think you did too, by saying it's a capital side, which could mean, a new heat pump. We probably, and we're not going to get that tonight, but we probably need to tighten up our understanding of what is building maintenance from the capital side as well as from the operating side. And if it's from the capital side, given the balance that we have, $119,000, roughly speaking, $432, and what's the likelihood that we're going to have a heat pump blow up, or would it be a roof too, Jim? Would that be a big capital item?
It could be.
What's the likelihood, and we'll need some, of a roof, opening up, and would that be enough? That would be the question I'd ask.
Yeah, in 2016, we established the Building Maintenance Capital Reserve Fund for the purpose of making needed repairs and performing needed maintenance to the town buildings and facilities. And we've explained it, and when we've put money in, we did it, we have town owns 23 buildings. This does not include the buildings owned by the enterprise funds. Buildings are maintained through the operating budget. However, building systems, including but not limited to roof, heating, ventilation, air conditioning, plumbing system, and others require cost repairs or replacement. In addition, this fund is used for siding repairs, including painting. And then it says the reserve fund is there to deal with unanticipated events.
So that's literally the kitchen sink.
And I've got it a number of times as I go back that that's what we've said.
That's literally in all of the above.
So it seems to me, based on what we have told the public, multiple years.
It's the kitchen sink.
Yep. But it sounds like it's those big, huge items, like if we knew that this roof was going to go in 5 years, you would put money in that capital reserve for that. Or you knew that a air conditioning system or a heating system that was going to be significant in money, you would put the money in. And if we could get asset management plans, and I think it was in about 2007 we started talking about asset management plans for facilities.
How are we doing?
And very poorly. And after this building was built, I asked and have tried since then to get an asset management plan for facilities. I've not been successful. We do have, Jim, isn't it iWorks?
So we do have the software for it, but right now the priority on that software is the water and sewer assets, and then it'll be the buildings.
So
eventually, from that, we should be able to fund this building plan, but we don't have
I
it.
hope so.
Dave?
Paul?
So, my naivete, I thought this was big capital stuff, and it's the kitchen sink. And it strikes me, going back to our earlier part of the meeting, we got to figure out who does what. We got to tighten up or refresh, I think, our understanding of these things, because where we're catching some thought leadership from people is you got this money in the bank, you ain't spending it. It's really that simple. And you want to put more in the bank. And you don't, and we need to kind of just tighten up our understanding of this. And Linda, thanks for, reminding us of what was in there. It's very comprehensive, but is that what we want to do going forward? Or something else? That's all.
Dave?
Well, then, if you're going to do something
change
else,
it.
you got to change your
We got
warrant
to change
article.
the warrant article. I got it.
So the issue would be, if we lost half of the slate roof up here, that 119 is what we're going to be needing to fix it. If we lose a major boiler system in this building, this is what we're going to use. We're going to use to do it. We do use it for could use it for other small projects, but it's something that, okay, so we have an account that's sitting there. It's sitting there for a reason. It's not money that we're not utilizing. It's money that we're utilizing as an insurance policy going forward for if there is a severe issue with the building. And we need to keep those. Now, is this the year to put $50,000 into it? I don't know. We got a tight budget. Is it a year that I would like to add something to it? How much was pulled out of it this past year, Jim? Do you have that?
So far, nothing. And the only item that we are contemplating, and it depends on where the budget ends up landing. If you recall, we had a bunch of masonry work done on this building this year. We're hopeful to be able to absorb that in the operating budget, but if not, we may come to you and say, can we utilize these funds for that purpose? But we're hopeful to be able to deal with that all through the operating budget.
Okay.
Yes, even though the warrant article says you can use it for just about anything, I agree with Jim. Those regular maintenance that we know need to take place need to be put in the operating budget, and we need to do them.
Yep.
And that's how this continues to be maintained.
Well, this says it's capital reserve fund.
Yeah, I'm just saying Jim had made,
Certain things.
yeah,
And
Jim
I
had
agree
said,
that
yeah.
Some of it should be in the
Yeah.
regular budgets.
That's what I was responding to.
Yep.
And the good news is, you guys are the agents to expend, so.
Yep.
Okay. So, moving forward, that's something that you guys could consider as well as, a wind down, if not a complete wind back. Next one, tree removal, expendable trust, currently has a balance of $13,850. You may recall you approved a bunch of funds this fall, I believe it was, for some tree planting that's going to take place next spring. So there'll be an expense coming out of that, but that's accounted for in this balance of $13,000. So $25,000, I think, is the bare minimum that we should put into this. Okay, next one is the library parking lot. That's been removed.
If I could, Jim, back up. Is there any better clarity on when the shovel goes in the ground on the Pickering corner heading down to the high school? Any better idea when that happens? We have any?
I think the last I heard was 28. I'm not sure.
Okay. The rhetorical me says we're going to be ripping out a lot of trees and we ain't putting many back. And I'm just alert to the public. Step up because we're going to need you to help us find some money to plant trees.
Yeah, I'll do two things about planting trees. I'm going to meet with members of the Conservation Commission. We're going to try to put together a fund to donate trees. So that is, we're starting to get to work on that. The state of New Hampshire wrote the Wolfeboro Waters for some comments on drainage and environmental issues, and they said it was from 2029 to 2032. So that was in writing in a letter, so.
That is what Steve said, too, 2032.
That's what came out of that letter, yep.
And I would just add that in CIP, I believe right now in 2028, there's scheduled to be, I think, a $300,000 tranche for trees, knowing that that's coming.
This is, again, talking beyond the close here, but this is important. I mean, we look fondly at what this town used to look like with elm trees. We do. And before Barry stuck up phone poles back in 1904. And we're about ready to, whether it's 29 or 32, we're going to tear a whole bunch of them down. We should have some dollars in the bank to replenish that. And I appreciate what you're thinking of doing, Linda. That's good.
Okay, so the next item is the library parking lot, been removed. Abenaki ski area, current balance $66,841. You have an updated spreadsheet in the document for you. I sat down, worked with Bo on this document. One of the things we contemplated was the replacement of the groomer in future years. And what we discussed was upon the lease purchase of the groomer being paid off, a portion of those funds being allocated back into the capital reserve fund so that this fund can be sustainable to be able to purchase a groomer, right now estimated in 2044. And based on that formula, this all works. So kudos to Bo for getting this updated, and I think this program, the way it's laid out now with $32,000 appropriated, groomer being paid off, jumping to $50,000, works for Abenaki.
And again, for the benefit of the public, just to add to that, a couple of people were sitting right over there in the audience tonight that out of their own generous hearts and wallets donated the electrification project that goes from the bottom of the hill to the top of the hill, all in, not paid for by us, all the way up the hill. We just got to figure out how to engineer an engine, not a motor, an engine to handle the demands of the tow rope. We're not going to change anything. Nothing's going to get changed. Kids are still going to be able to hang on to this thing for dear life and go up the hill. But all of that has been donated. People are making, I think, good, solid, clean investments in that area because it's just super.
It is.
It's frickin' super.
It is.
And we should not overdo it, but we should make sure that when it comes time for a new groomer in 2044, that we can buy a new groomer, whatever we need. Just it's a modest amount of money to put in the kitty, and I think we should do it.
I'd like to, because people, it might be small up on the screen, I'm going to read off some of the things that have come out of this Abenaki Ski Area Capital Reserve. And tell me if I'm wrong, Jim, but this capital reserve was not set up specifically for a groomer, but for capital reserve for the entire Abenaki Hill and its equipment, correct?
Go ahead with your statement. I will pull up what that was.
Okay. So in 2000, and I'm going to have to, it's not in order, so I'm going to have to skip around a little bit. In 2011, a snowmaking pump 1. In 2011, a snowmaking compressor. In 2011, snow guns and heads. In 2013, a snowmobile. In 2021, more snowmaking piping. In 2022, lights for the hill. In 2022, light poles for the hill. In 2022, an ATV gator. And in 2024, the used groomer. And in 2025, a rope for the rope tow.
Yep.
So that's what we've spent the ski reserve money on.
Good. John?
So I think what you heard tonight was the expansion of snowmaking, and on 2028 we have compressor. So what we need to do, because what we have up there right now is we have 2 individual standalone compressors that sit there on the ground that they tandem up. So when you go to a real mountain, they actually have a compressor house that everything's all contained and has a life expectancy and a output per your mountain. So you've actually you've created your trails. Now you're going to expand. You're going to have a full outfit of your compressing air so that you can blow your snow, and then you're going to add new guns that will be more efficient over the years. But the big takeaway here is the compressor.
And there will be more stuff because stuff will break, stuff will wear out, and you'll have to replace them.
John brings up a really good point, and Bo and I did have a conversation about that. One of his action items over the coming year is to have the pump house evaluated to determine what the best way forward is for replacement of that compressor, whether it's to expand the building, whether it's to lean to it, or if there's another option. But he's got that as a takeaway item, as well as the pumps. So this warrant article...
By the way, Jim, at the Friends meeting of Abenaki the other night, there was a conversation all about that. So that team is working on those questions.
Yep. So this was established under warrant article 19, establish Abenaki Ski Area Capital Reserve Fund to see if the town will vote to establish a new capital reserve fund as authorized under provision RSA 35-1 for the purpose of purchasing or replacing the snowmaking equipment, the groomer, light poles, and mechanical, electrical, and safety equipment related to the Abenaki ski area, and to raise and appropriate the sum of $15,250 to be placed, Board of Selectmen trustees, approved by the Board of Selectmen 5-0, recommended by the Budget Committee 4-1-1. And with that said as well, the other thing that Bo is going to be factoring into this over the next couple years is the replacement of the overhead electrical and monies for the replacement of an electric motor if that takes place going down the road. That'll be tied into this program.
Jim, what year was that warrant article?
2015.
10 years ago, roughly speaking.
No, excuse me, 2013.
2013.
Correct, 2013.
Okay. I thought it was 15 also.
13.
Just after the turn of
Time flies.
Yep. Okay, so your next item is remove the language related to the capital reserve appropriation for the highway equipment and put in new language relative to the replacement of a sidewalk tractor. As we discussed last time, the thought here is the amount we need to appropriate is going to go in and come right back out, so why don't we just set the article for the machine that's needed and move forward. So that's the draft of that article for you. Okay, your next item is the wastewater treatment plant capital reserve fund. Again, you've got two different options here, whether to do it in cash or whether to do it as an appropriation to the capital reserve fund. I got you a little bit more information. Underwood Engineers indicates their build out and capacity study analysis is about 95% complete. Woodward and Curran is currently working on the evaluation of the plant. So that's in process. That PO has been issued. So right now we have a balance of funds in that capital reserve of $111,577. Below in the next spreadsheet, the orange peach colored tab, you see the proposed upgrades that Woodward and Curran is looking for. The tractor, as they discussed, that is for the RIB sites to rake those beds out, and basically some general maintenance around the facility as outlined in the explanation. I can try to answer anything you have or get you deeper answers from Dave Didion.
Dave? Yeah. Last year, we were also given the amount of $250,000 to spend on the wastewater treatment plant. You cut it back to 175, which is what we have usually spent. And I don't, it said fire and safety systems was for 50,000 you took out, and I don't see that in the list this year.
I think that's all tied in with the electrical upgrades, Linda. I will confirm that.
Oh, you think that's what that was?
I think that's tied in with that. I will get that confirmed from Dave.
Because we just
Okay.
did a bunch of upgrades.
I just was looking, we've always funded this at about $175,000, and this evaluation of the plan is going to come and tell us whether we need a new plant or whether we're going to keep in our process of upgrading the old plant. I was just looking to see if we could bring this back down to 175, because we still have a surplus in there.
Of 111.
That you should be able to do all those things. We keep it steady until such time as we decide what exactly we're going to do. So that was what I was looking at when I looked at the two. So I'm looking at trying to move it down to 175.
Dave? So Jim, if I understand correctly, they're recommending $250,000 in expenses for 2026. If we take and get 175, then we're going to be pulling 75 out of the balance of the funds that are currently available, or no?
We could either do that, or we could ask them to stagger some of these purchases. And when Dave and I spoke, we did have a conversation about, it doesn't really seem to make a lot of sense for you to be buying a tractor and an ATV Gator during the same year. Can you look at staggering them? He was open to it, but as indicated, last year they asked for this number. We brought them back. I'm bringing the full amount to you guys for consideration, but I think they're more than willing to work with us on this.
So we're going to fund this out of general taxation? Is that the theory here?
That is correct.
Just for the benefit of the public?
Yeah.
Can't fund it out of the operating side of the sewer fund. It's got brackets around its bottom line.
So
it has to come out of general taxation.
Dave? So Jim, did they mention to you whether the Gator or the tractor is more important to their operations at this current time?
He just said you need the tractor to rake the rib.
Break the rim.
And so one of the things that I'm looking at here is the B series. It's a weenie tractor. It's not even a.
That's a weenie.
It's not an L series. It's the smallest Kubota tractor there is, and so the small bucket that comes with it won't even be enough to carry this stuff away. If you at least. So if they bought a used L tractor, they could probably get a big enough bucket so they could at least haul the stuff away, because a 6x4 Gator is
But I don't think it answered Brian's question. The question is A or B, and I think what you said is the tractor is undersized in the first place, but the question is what's more important?
The tractor.
And what are they raking it with now?
Your car.
Maybe they haven't yet.
No, they have been.
They have something up there to rake it. They have to.
Your electric.
Yeah.
I thought that I had the age of the tractor on here, but I guess it's not.
So again, let's go back to my question. Instead of talking about size of tractors and all this other stuff, I would assume that they know what they're doing because they rake it now, and I would trust them for what tractor they have. But my question is, if they're replacing a tractor, they must have one because they have to be maintaining that RIB site, or else we're really in trouble, or a Gator, then which one do they need mostly? Do they have another year that they can get out of their tractor? Is their current gator that they have dead? Or, because I would say if they can get one more year out of their tractor, we cut the tractor out at $45,000, cut the 250 down to 200, and now we've kind of found a balance between the 175. We can do most of what they need to do this year and keep things operating.
Okay, more data.
That's a good point.
More data.
Well, we can do we have money already in the account, so we can do everything that's here.
Yeah.
And what I heard Jim say, he'd go back to them, they'd work,
Yeah.
and if they felt that they had to have the gator or the other one, and we really need to do it, we have a place to go get it.
Yeah.
Is my feeling. And if they can wait a year and they're wrong, we have a place to go get
Yeah.
it. So I was just trying to do it by saying, let's use some of what we have and see what works.
So take it down to 175.
Yep.
And then ask them if they could put off the tractor for a year. Then that keeps a decent balance
Sounds fair.
in the fund. Instead of 111, you would end up with about 85 in that account, so that then if they needed to get the tractor, they'd have 85, and they could still pull it out and use 45 out of that 85 to get the tractor.
Or they could lease it.
The only problem is then our fund balance could get very, very low.
But we're going to get an evaluation. Once you get that evaluation, you'll know whether we're going to start putting more money into the upgrade of the plant. And what we had when we first started this, we had $1 million, and we had it going over, I think it was 10 years. And we put a set amount in each year, and I knew in year 2 we were going to take out more money and we were going to do that. And it was very clear, and we went right down through that. So my hope is if we get this evaluation and we're going to repair the building, we would put something similar together, that we knew how and what years we were going to do the upgrade. If we were going to do a whole new plant, then I would want to be spending less money on the plant, knowing that we were going to do it. So that's the reason I'm doing what I'm doing.
So I'm okay with the 175, but before we do the 175, Jim, can you find out if they could make the tractor last another year?
Yeah, I can absolutely do that. There's no problem there. And I guess the way I'm kind of hearing what's taking place here, there's a desire to make this a cash appropriation as opposed to a capital reserve appropriation.
Correct, because we're going to be spending it all this year.
So I'm wondering about is this maintenance or is this capital? Because this sounds like it's maintenance to me when you're scraping the ribs.
Yeah, but it's the tractor itself.
I understand that, but I'm reflecting on last year where we had the Parks and Rec. They wanted a tractor and we turned them down. So, I mean, they were doing maintenance too. So I'm just trying to compare apples to apples and say, okay, these guys, they wanted a tractor to take care of the Parks and Rec, but we're going to give a tractor to the Rib just for doing his
I
thing.
think the dollar amount was substantially different, John.
Yeah, it's completely different. Completely. Because this is an enterprise.
I'd use the word de minimis, but I'd get in trouble for using that word.
I believe the Parks and Rec wanted a $100,000 tractor, and this is a $45,000. And the tractor is important for Parks and Rec. I'm not going to say that they're not an important group too, but I would say that our RIB site needs to be raked and cleaned, or else we're going to be in trouble.
I agree. I agree. I'm just trying to understand if we had a tractor, both of them could use the tractor.
Well, that's what we.
I think it's a smaller space. I think that this is the type, and what my question was going to be, do we have another tractor in town and I don't know how often they rake it. which is why we made the decision on Park and Rec. And I think that is legitimate to ask whether there's another one that can do that, and how often do they rake it? I think they rake it pretty often, is my recollection.
The other conversation that we had with them was, geez, this is a town asset. If the town needs to use this tractor, is this something that we could potentially have an agreement with? And they had no issue with that whatsoever.
Okay.
On this one, you got everything you need from us, Jim?
Well, and one comment, then what John said, if this is so small, what are we going to borrow it for, right?
It might work for cleaning beaches at Parks and Rec.
Do you need anything else from us, Jim?
No, I think I got the information I need. I'll get that cleaned up. I'll get a couple of answers for you related to tractor size, frequency, usage, and priority of the gator versus the tractor. So we'll get that moving more info to come.
So can you get us the cost that they've spent on tractor use to this point?
I will ask them for tractor utilization.
For what purpose?
They have
type.
It's four IB sites, right, Linda? 4?
Let's see.
That's
We
the
have
primary
5. Yes,
purpose.
I think so. We have 4
Yeah.
now. We had 5, and we
5 or 4?
We had 5. I think we don't use one of them.
Yeah. So we have 4. So.
There are 5 of
Okay,
them up there.
so your next one is the water treatment plant. Again, this one needs to be put on hold because I need more information from Sam, Steve, and Josh about what's going on in that fund. So your next item is water resources, non-capital reserve fund. Scheduling a conversation with Sam next week regarding the account balancing. There's a lot of moving pieces on this one right now. It shows 221,827. That is not a correct number.
Absolutely.
It's significantly lower than that. We did not fund this last year.
That's correct.
So we are looking to fund this year at 50,000.
Yeah, when I take out the year to date, which is really the end of the year 2025, there's 169,926 in this account. We did not add anything in last year. Wolfeboro Waters is recommending taking out $40,000 as a match for the Russ Pond project. And going before Wolfeboro Waters at the next meeting will be a request to see how they feel about giving $16,500 to the Wentworth Watershed Association to help with their upgrades to their watershed management plan. So I see a possibility of about $57,000 coming out of projects I know that's on the horizon right now.
So more to follow regarding the accounting, and you heard about projects coming up. Clark Complex, you guys asked me to reach out and secure more information about potentially restoring the wall. I did ask for that to be done. I have had no results yet. I'm thinking that maybe we should just back off for 2026 on the full project related to the schoolhouse and just do the museum repairs. In your backup, it shows the museum repairs at $26,100, and then it shows the schoolhouse repairs at $150, but that does not include the necessary repairs to the wall. So I think we've got a good bit of information regarding the museum, but I think we need more data on the schoolhouse.
Dave?
Who should we reach out to for the schoolhouse to get some quotes?
Hang on a minute, Brian.
We we have, and Jim should be able to give to you, which was back up when it went to the CIP, the quotes from an engineering firm. And I agree with Jim. I'm the representative to the Historical Society. Without having the number on what it will cost to fix the front wall, you don't want to pick up the building without dealing with the front wall. So the Clark House quote is solid, and I agree we go forward with that and look at next year for the schoolhouse.
Makes sense?
Okay. Is that front wall in bad enough condition that we could have some kind of failure with it that would hurt the building significantly?
You don't know how much it costs. You have no information on what the cost will do that. It wasn't part of the engineering study. That's all I can say.
I'm just concerned if we have a bad winter and we end up with 3 feet of snow on the roof, is the structure going to be compromised?
The answer is no one knows. I think what you're saying is what's the odds of that?
Yeah, we should.
Do we have another Libby?
Is that the one with the metal roof?
I don't know.
I'm not 100% sure. That may actually have a metal roof on it. I am having a hard time
It's a good
placing, but
pitch.
We're rolling the dice.
20-year-old roofs.
Again,
They didn't build flat roofs
So-
at that point.
okay, so I'll update that to reflect the 26-1.
thank you.
Foss Field, tennis courts, well, all the courts actually, tennis, pickleball, basketball, at Foss Field. All good? Yep. Okay, facilities manager, I got you more data on this one. I've provided you a prospective budget for 2027 of $130,531. That's all inclusive. You flip to the next page. It shows 20 weeks of salary. It shows health care currently estimated at a family plan for a balance of $51,677 for 2026. The balance would be for the purchase of a vehicle for the staff member, and then moving to 2027, fully funded for the 52 weeks, and currently estimating a family plan for health insurance at $50,000. That's what it currently looks like. I think this gives you a little more information as to what you were looking for.
So it's a $63,000 annual salary?
That is correct.
And a total expense for the employee of $130,531.
That's estimated, Brian, based on health insurance costs. Obviously, that's
Yeah, we know.
target, as we all are well aware. So it's currently programmed and estimated at, got a ringing.
And why are we buying a car?
My mic is now working.
Thanks, Timothy. And why are we buying a car? Why don't we just-
Excuse me, Paul?
And why are we buying a car?
What?
Vehicle.
Vehicle.
That's better.
So they can go to the facilities and have their stuff in their vehicles so that they can do the work. So like Steve Randall, he has a vehicle, so when he shows up at the job, all of his stuff is in the vehicle, just like the facilities manager would, he would need a vehicle, unless he has a magic carpet.
So I think we've heard, we've seen, we feel that we need to do something in this space. We now know a number, but we don't know what the function actually is going to do. And I'll volunteer to help put some substance under that if this board decides that we want to take this forward to the voters. Because I think people are going to say, well, that's good. What's this person going to do? the day you put them on board, what budgets are they going to be responsible for? How do we know they're doing a great job? What outcomes are you going to measure? And if we don't have any of that stuff done, then we're no disrespect, we're just humming at people. So I'll volunteer to help, put some wheels on that thing if you want.
Well, I can forward you the draft of a job description that we've received from other communities.
Great.
And we're currently going through and reviewing that at this point compared to what we have in Wolfeboro.
Appreciate it.
So, Dave, so the priority on this, Jim, you have is a 4, and I understand why. And I think we got a cart and a horse kind of situation here. We'll spend $80,000 on a facilities manager, but we're concerned about the front wall of a schoolhouse that needs repairs. So could the $80,000 be used to fix the schoolhouse, or do we need the facilities manager to come in first and tell us we need to fix the schoolhouse?
So that $80,000 also comes with another price tag of $150,000 before it for the repairs to the
Schoolhouse.
Pleasant Valley Schoolhouse.
Yeah.
So they've given us a list of repairs minus the wall.
Correct.
Yep.
Dave? I agree with Paul. We need that job description. What you see him doing and what I see him doing and what Paul and it could all be different. So I absolutely with you. And if you need help, I will work with you on that. We definitely need a well-defined job description to go along with this.
What we talked about earlier, who does what and how do you know they're doing it, right? Just define roles and responsibilities. And that would be great because then we know, and I'm not being too cheeky here, we know who to thank for, saving us from having to prospectively spend more money than we can afford to spend. So I will volunteer, whatever you guys want. And Linda, I appreciate you doing
I
it.
will get the job description off to you.
Okay.
And if you guys want to give me some input, I can try to put it into a track change version, and we can see what we can get together.
Okay.
I think you've heard about the police commission wanting to expand. I did receive a letter with, some narrative language on it. I have had a very preliminary conversation with legal on it. So the highlighted section in yellow was added by me. I did ask the question, how does this get on the warrant? Nathan said, you as the Board of Selectmen are the keepers of the warrant, and you are the ones who have the authority to say, yes, move this to the warrant, or no, do not move this to the warrant, or they can bring it forward as a petition. So here's this draft in front of you. We've got some language that's got to be cleaned up in the highlighted section, but I will be talking with Nathan deeper on that Friday. Any questions?
So, if we push this warrant article forward and it passes, then it goes to the state legislature for them to make the changes to 1959 NH House Bill number 420.
That is correct.
Do we know whether or not it just becomes a cursory, they're going to stamp it, or could they deny it?
Could be denied.
Could be denied. Could be, you and I had a conversation with somebody the other day where things get gummed up.
Yeah.
No.
Are there? I think that I did a look at this a while back, and I don't think there are any police commissions with 5 members in the state right now, are there?
I could not answer that question.
I think by state RSA, I think they're only allowed 3. I could be wrong.
Yeah.
I'll have to double check that, but so it could be a heavy lift for the New Hampshire House to approve this, because I think that right now state RSA says only 3 are allowed on a police commission. So we're asking the state to change the law for the entire state in order. I could be wrong.
So
I think
this commission is different because of it was established under this 1959 Act. So it is significantly different than those. But those all legitimate questions that I will get answers to.
And you think about it, and I'm not here to handicap, and I don't think we're changing for area of the commission. What Jim said is this was done uniquely, I believe, for ours. But if you think about it, I mean, there's 3 members in the commission. If 2 of them talk to each other, they just quorum the meeting. And they're not supposed to do that. So it's, and I appreciate the state legislature doing all the things they do.
Okay. So your next one, we talked about this briefly. If we are going to move forward with an ambulance, they have a asset management schedule that asks to replace 1 ambulance every 5 years with a 10-year lifespan of those ambulances. Under the state statute, there is the authority to establish a revolving fund for the operations of an ambulance service. Met with the chief and the deputy. We had a discussion about the percentages, and we felt that 35% going into a revenue revolving fund and the 65% going back to the general fund would put them in a position where they should be able to replace equipment on a regular schedule. They're still working up the backup to it that lays out the plan and the estimated costs based on anticipated revenues, but this is first version of this that you've seen.
So if you had 2 ambulances and they had a 10-year lifespan, wouldn't you want one to last 5 years and then you buy one, and then another 5 years, then you'd buy another one? But we've just bought one, and we're going to buy another one 2 years later.
So the way it's set up, they bought a used ambulance, which is in-house now. They're asking to purchase a new ambulance in 2026, and then from that point out, John, it would be every 5 years an ambulance would be replaced, and it would have a 10-year lifespan. So if now is 2025, in 2030, if that used ambulance was replaced, the new ambulance coming in 2026 would be replaced in 2036. So it would hopscotch. So you would have an ambulance that was your fleet would be no older than 10 years old, but you would schedule the replacement halfway through. Similar to how they do the fire trucks. Seems to work.
I just thought we were going to get longer out of that ambulance that we got. We heard it was a lightly used and it was at a university or something on the path. So I'm just trying to say we're only going to get 5 years out of that.
That's a good question. That these things you might be able to get. The 10-year replacement cycle, it could lead up to 12 years. Depending on how the fleet stands up.
Jim or Dave?
Paul?
My view is you put it on the spreadsheet. That's what Tom and the deputy did. We look at the numbers. If those numbers are what they are, that's what we're telling the voters they should get behind and support. If they change it, well, that's a different issue. But I think they anticipated a useful life of these ambulances consistent with what they said. The good news would be, this is one of these operations that if you don't pick up any passengers, those things could last forever. So if someone said we're going to make a lot of money, a lot of revenue on this thing, and I'd say our objective should be no revenue because everybody's healthy and they don't need one. But we know that's not true. But to your point, John, we got to be careful and watchful that we don't. My words, we don't talk ourselves into a financial model that we go, how the hell did we do that? And your skepticism or critical eye is probably the best, is worth paying attention to.
Dave? Just, Jim, do you think stewards, because they do this all the time, would be able to give us an idea of how long their ambulance lasts in the town of Wolfeboro?
No.
No, they wouldn't? No?
Doug wouldn't tell you, right?
They're using those on a rotating basis, high mileage with interfacility transfers.
Good ask, though.
Okay.
Very good.
So the answer is no.
So their use is completely different than ours.
Completely
so-
different use.
Yeah. So we'll know in a year.
Yeah. And I think this is, reach out, I can reach out to Chief Carrier in Guilford and say, look, what's your lifespan of an ambulance? I know that when we did it where I came from, we had a 10-year.
Oh, so you can check other municipalities and see.
I haven't with Guilford, but I will.
And our new
Okay.
deputy
All right.
has some
Great.
experience.
Mm-hmm.
You know.
Learn from others. That's what you do.
So that summarizes your warrant articles.
Thank you, Jim. Thank you. Good job.
So for the 17th, I'll hopefully have these in a better form based on what I've heard tonight. And some of these you may be able to move to the warrants.
Okay.
You want to go over the water restriction updates?
Sure. So that was going to be another other business item. But you have in your packet a water restriction update. The reservoir remains stable, 39 inches below full reservoir. Usage over the past week has been 116 gallons per minute, plus or minus. And just as a matrix, over the summer period, it's usually 300 gallons a minute. So this chart gives you an idea of what it looks like compared to history with some rainfall. This is on the webpage for people to review. So water restrictions still remain in place, and we did lose an inch over the past couple weeks. Hopefully with some of the precipitation we've been receiving, it might help us out a little bit, and the reduced usage. Any questions?
I think just a data point, because we have the school in session now, so they're probably using more water, and then in the summertime, they're not using the water. So if it's kind of you're getting a read on what's going on during the summertime.
Yeah, but in the summertime, the sun helps us eat up the water.
And people water, they're not watering now.
Sun just. Burn.
And then under other business, you have a draft letter in here in support of a special election. I'm not sure, I sent this to you guys last week, not sure if you want to vote to approve, sign this, and get this off to Governor and Council.
Yes.
I'll make a motion that we sign the December 3rd letter to Governor Ayotte on the special election request.
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Okay, it's in your signature package, and I can let you know, I received correspondence from Ossipee today. They're doing the same thing.
Good.
Then there were three.
All right. Warrant articles, old business, is there any?
Well, Jim, don't you want to share something with us?
Yeah, isn't there some, you have these? Does Jim,
Oh, okay, I can do that. I was going to do it in 10 minutes.
This is what everybody's been waiting for.
But I can do it. So tax rate.
There it is. Get your glasses on.
This was discussed Monday evening. You voted to approve the tax rate. I put together a comparison of 2024 to the 2025 tax rate. Gross appropriations for 2025 were $2,416,000 over 2024, but our revenues were also $2,214,000 over 2024. So the differential between the 2 years was $201,571. You, as the Board of Selectmen, voted to approve $1,250,000 of fund balance to offset taxes, and that is actually worked out really nicely for us when we moved forward and got the tax rate set. So moving down through the spreadsheet, this year's overlay is $65,000. Next year, it'll probably be higher because of the reevaluation, which is going to take place. Todd's thinking between $150,000 and $175,000 for next year. Additionally, the voters this year approved $175,000 for soft costs of the public safety building. So that is accounted for as a voter balance surplus. In the report, veterans tax credits were essentially level as last year. So our total net tax effort for 2025 was $1,225,581 less than in 2024, which kind of neatly coincides with what you as the Board of Selectmen voted to use as the fund balance. Divide that out by 1,000 and that gets us to our tax rate of $3.21 per thousand. Compared to last year, the municipal tax rate was $6.73, a reduction of $3.51. County, 71 cents. Local education, $3.37. State education, $1.07, for a total tax rate of $8.36, compared to 2024, which had a tax rate of $15.90, a reduction of $7.53. Had we not done the municipal reevaluation, our tax rate would have been $6.24 with the buy down which took place, and we still have, with the utilization of fund balance, we still have $4,491,166 in our fund balance for the general fund, unassigned fund balance. So when you look at the 2025 tax rate compared to 2024, the municipal portion in 2025 is 38% of your tax bill, whereas last year it was 42%. County, 9% both years. This year, local education, 40%. Last year, local education was 37%. State education this year, 13%. Last year was 12%. So that gives you a quick summary of the tax rate, how it was set, and how we got there. So, any questions?
Jim, what did you say the local, the county rate as a percent of total was?
9%.
9%, thank you. And what was local education?
Local education this year was 40%. Last year was 37%.
I'm writing, I didn't go to the next chart.
Just go over.
Leave me alone.
Just flip your page.
Let me just flip the chart, Jim, so I can get the right answer.
So, and I said this the other day, and I'll say it again. I checked about a dozen houses in my local neighborhood community and looked at the assessed value on tax cards and multiplied it by the tax rate, and then asked some of the members of the community how their tax bill looks from the first half of the year to the second half of the year. And based on this tax rate, most of them said that their taxes were very, very similar, which I think is a good thing.
I want to be in that category because Linda keeps saying a third go up, a third go down, and a third stay the same. I want to be in the stay the same. Yeah.
I want to go down.
But then thank you for doing that, Brian. But at the end of it all, it's all relevant to the bill that you get in the mail, and you go, that's bigger than I had last year.
And some of it is relevant to, was your neighborhood, and I hate this word, but I'll use it anyways, gentrified? Did you have older houses in your neighborhood and 3 of them were rebuilt and added on with additions, and the value for all the property in the neighborhood became worth more? That picks your value up also. Did you do renovations to your property? Did you side it? Did you add an addition? Do you add a deck to it? That's going to make your taxes go up also. Even if we kept the tax rate flat from one year to another, your house would become worth more money, and you would end up with a higher tax bill.
Yep.
Hey, does anybody have any other old business? Any other business?
Monkey business.
Town managers report.
So tax rate, we just went over that. We met earlier this week regarding the docks and Morris ordinance as well. We had a follow-up meeting regarding goals and objectives for me moving into 2026. On December 30th, I'd like to be able to schedule our annual encumbrance carry-forward meeting, if that would be possible. That's a Tuesday. If we could do that late in the afternoon, that would be great, so that we could carry those encumbrances forward into 2026, which we're legally bound to do.
What day?
December 30th.
30th,
It's a Tuesday.
At what time?
whatever works for you guys. Later afternoon would be best.
4 o'clock.
Sure.
Works for me.
Done.
Okay, we will get that scheduled.
Okay, done.
And I think that's all that I have for you.
Okay, committee reports. Brian?
So we had the Docks and Wharfs meeting. We had Jim's goals and objectives meeting. We had I had a budget committee meeting. We had the ad hoc ambulance committee meeting, which I thought was very productive. And as Paul and I both said earlier, this is to bring back to the forefront what the plan is, where we are, where we're going to end up in the next year, so that the public understands how our fire-based ambulance system is going to operate and work. I'm hoping that we can have maybe an open house at the public safety building or something, and invite the community to come and look at the current ambulance and talk to the fire department and the new director of the ambulance service to get an understanding of where we are. Paul and I, we mentioned before, we met once with the Attorney General and the regulator of school care, and we had a conversation also with the CEO of school care, just so that we can wrap our head around where our health insurance is going to fall next year and in future years.
Paul?
My turn. It was the Secretary of State,
What did I say?
the Attorney General.
Oh, Secretary of State, excuse me.
But not to correct you. I'll start by saying I did something really bad last night, and I didn't see any cops. I came downtown last night, 10 o'clock, and parked out in front of Garwood's and looked at the Christmas tree in the snow. There wasn't a car to be found. And that brought back the reason I moved here. So yes, we did Jim's goals, and we're gonna sit with Jim quarterly to catch up with those, and we're gonna work with Jim and Amy to set the time for that. Budget committee over at the fire station. That's a pretty cool place. Report on school care. Brian has filled us in. John and I attended the Friends of the Libby Museum meeting following my unthudding of the motion, and we presented to the Friends of the Libby Museum the letter that we all signed saying we want to work together. Following that meeting, I went over to the Friends of Abenaki, and I reported earlier that that was an absolute blast. Brian and I did the ad hoc committee work, and that should hopefully have some good outcomes. And I've got a couple of other things, but they're irrelevant, so that's my report.
Yeah, I attended the meeting on Jim's goals. I had a light couple of weeks. I did meet with the subcommittee of Wolfeboro Waters to draft a letter to New Hampshire DOT on the Route 28 project to emphasize the need for stormwater treatment and stormwater runoff, and to make sure they address all the water coming off of Route 28. That draft will go to Wolfeboro Waters. at their next meeting. I did meet with Jim and Steve Randall and John to talk about a possible fix to the library's parking lot drainage issue, and that's all I had.
Thanks.
All right. All of us were involved, as it's been said, with Jim's goals. I also had a meeting with New Hampshire DOT with Dave Hammond, who's in charge of some of the projects they have, along with David Smith, project manager. There is a hearing next Wednesday night at 5:30 here in reference to the culvert replacement in South Wolfeboro. It starts at 5:30. They'll be open. They'll have all kinds of plans and stuff here for that. That meeting, I met with Rick Corian and Steve Wood, who are both on that committee as well, as myself. So that's pretty important to us. This project will not be done until after next summer. And it will be explained that it will be a single road. It'll be alternating traffic with traffic lights. And I think we've seen that on some of their other projects. So that will all be explained next Wednesday. So I encourage anybody to come out to that. It should be very informative from their standpoint. They had talked about a bridge versus the culvert. Culvert went out just because of funding. So that'll be explained as well, I believe. That's all I have.
So I think everybody else has explained all the meetings that I've been to with them, so let's wrap this up.
Okay, any questions from the press, Jim?
Nobody on, Dave.
Any public input this time?
Dave,
Okay.
I missed one. I also had a meeting with Allison at the library about the town budget, and she wanted to talk to me about her budget and where she is and whatnot. It was a good conversation.
Okay, I'll entertain a motion to go into non-public then.
Second?
All's in favor?
Yep.
Well done.